All right, I believe we're live. Welcome back, True Seeker. I don't know how my sunburn showing up, but man, sun rays are. Oh no! Oh my goodness! Come on, that's not how we want to do it. Hold on. Let's do a take two on that. Take two. Anyhow, let me get us all set back up here. Beginning with a crash. All right, I think we're good. All right. Well, the trip has been beautiful. It's been a wonderful trip. If you guys got to see the live stream yesterday that I was doing, yeah, right, the Matrix is doing, Chigozi Truth was doing, you got to see some of it. Sadly, a lot of the content was censored by Google, and we'll talk more about that. I think the real reason the content got censored is they didn't want to see, a bunch of people could come together from diverse backgrounds with a common purpose and just have, natural chemistry, great conversations, attract the engagement of other people wondering what we're gathering there for. And I mean, it truly was a beautiful thing what happened on this trip. And yesterday, OKC, April 19th, it was a great success. Sadly, if you missed the live stream, yeah, right, the Matrix lost a channel. I lost the whole stream. They took down my stream for copyright. It's like, how is it possible to take it down for copyright? What's having conversations out here on the streets with people? And yeah, the good news is we had a gentleman flying from New Jersey. He was recording most of the trip. He's going to turn it into a short film. He's going to try to make it 30 minutes to an hour, really potent, capturing the best interactions. And he'll have a lot of behind-the-scenes footage too. So, but he's going to make a film out of it, and hopefully that's the type of I think we got disconnected for a minute. That could happen. Again, I'm on the freeway, so maybe there'll be some spots where the reception's not as good. If it breaks up, I can always hit the reconnect button, and hopefully we stay reconnected. But yeah, I got about a 3-hour drive before me. We're heading down to Dallas. So if anybody wants to meet us in Dallas, my navigation says ETA 2:18 p.m. How about that? But I do got to make a stop at the gas station along the way, so probably throw on another 10 minutes. Well, maybe I'll gas up in Dallas. I might actually have enough gas to get there from Oklahoma City to Dallas. Maybe I'll save the gas up for when I leave. So maybe we'll just drive all the way through. Maybe I'll just try to stream all the way there. Just as a heads up, you guys, my eyes aren't good enough to read the chat while I'm driving. I'm not, yeah, right, the Matrix. I don't know how he does it. He's driving around reading the chat. I got to get contacts or something. But again, I just want to express that it was really awesome. I mean, just how many people came out. I want to say throughout the course of the day yesterday, there were probably at least 70 people who came out. Plus we engaged with, a good deal of people in the city. There was a group from Arkansas that were just like, this is the crazy. Friends, there's something about numbers to this world and something greater than numbers, and then we come across you and you maybe what we were looking for. And of course, Arkansas really is connected to OKC because Bill Clinton was the president at the time from Arkansas. They say Timothy McVeigh was radicalized at the white supremacist camp in Elohim, like the Old Testament, Arkansas. And by the way, the guy who founded that camp, would you believe it, his name equals 201. And it was awesome because people who came out brought even more 201s, even more 68s. It just, again, the more eyes looking at this, the more people doing the research, the more we connect the dots, the more undeniable the rituals become. And if you missed it, a gentleman, Paul, he came out and he said, did you know that there was a man who tried to blow up the Oklahoma City building in '83, and he was put to death for that by the state on April 19th, 95, the day of the bombing? I did not know that. I mean, look it up. Richard Snell, and his name also equals 201, just like Timothy McVeigh. It's like, come on. But yeah, it was just, you guys, it really was a beautiful thing. And if you wanted to be here and you feel bad that you missed out, don't feel bad. There will be a next time. We're already building the momentum for September 11th, New York. I'm going to have to, you know, get Sweet Lady on board. I think I can do it. She likes New York. She should be. She spends time with. And you know me, I'm going to be wanting to pound a lot of pavement. And I know New York's not too far from a lot of other cities. So maybe in a 2-week stretch, make it out to Philly, make it to DC. And, but yeah, the momentum was built with this. And again, my only real gripe is that, well, I didn't get to go in the museum is one gripe from the trip. And then the other is that they had to censor us, which isn't a surprise, but it's just like, God, the streams that we had going yesterday were they could have been so inspirational for people to see. For all the people who don't think, you know, a group of strangers, well, maybe strangers isn't the right word, right? I mean, we have a purpose. We kind of know each other from listening to each other, sharing information, conversations online. But so you have some familiarity, but then you meet in person and, you know, the chemistry's already there. And I mean, if you guys saw it, I mean, just so many great conversations happening. Nobody wanted to say goodbye. You know, we hung out late into the night. Funny story, you know, Chigozi and I, you know, it's known that we both like our cannabis. And, you know, he got into town a little late. I wish I could have spent more time with Chigozi. But, you know, the time that we did spend was great. But anyway, the thing I was going to tell you is we ended up hanging out into the middle of the night, you know, about 4 a.m. Chigozi Truth and I, you know, for the first time, we share a nice little joint together. And I realized, I was like, man, we're sharing a joint for the first time on 420. How about that? You know, just the way the universe works out, man. But, yeah, anyway, you guys, so many great conversations. By the way, if you're ever in Oklahoma City, great restaurant in there, local business, all about health and nutrition. Cafe 420. You go in there, they got like a big tribute to Dr. Sebi and all alkaline foods and truly delicious too, you know. But here, as we're driving on the road, I just wanted, you know, a lot of people. So there's a lot of names. If I forget your name, I mean, I'm sorry, but I just want to send thank yous to people. 2 men who I met yesterday that I was really impressed by. They drove out from Iowa. One of them, you know, they're cousins. They work together, but only one of them really has the YouTube channel. And he'd been discouraged because he started out his truth operation, if you will, on. We are connected, aren't we? Are we connected? All right, I think we're connected. How's my sunburn look? But they came out from Iowa, and the man who has the channel, well, okay, just again, he was on Facebook and they deleted him, and he said that was really discouraging for him. It kind of broke him because he put so much time and effort into that page on Facebook trying to get out knowledge and information, and for it all just to be deleted in the snap of fingers, it kind of like broke his heart and just made him want to quit. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to quit on the truth. They want to make it too hard to put out the truth so that we get discouraged and stop. But anyway, he said it was good for him to come out because it inspired him to want to really get going again. But he goes by the name RPM, like RPM, and then Vietnam, just like how you'd expect to spell it, RPM Trey Vietnam. And again, just a really well-spoken man. You know, he's the full package. Strong, in shape, well-spoken, handsome. And again, just another guy that can be super inspirational. He's a lot like, the Matrix. Just he's packing, man. He's a walking embodiment of our constitutional rights, and that's what he's about. You know, not to put his own life out there, but he's got an 18-year-old son, and his son's kind of taken by the Matrix, and he's trying to wake his son up, and he wants his son to be aware of what's going on in the world. He doesn't want him to get taken by any of these agendas. So that's the other thing breaking his heart right now, that he's having trouble reaching his son, who he's always had a great relationship with. But support this man, RPM Trey Vietnam. He's on YouTube. I'm not sure if he went back to Facebook. That's where he was, but he got deleted there. Facebook, that was the first platform to censor me too. But, thank you to him and his cousin. I believe they're on the way back to Iowa. And of course, Kayla Deco Tucker was out there, and I feel bad because I took several people back and forth between the airport and I was going to take another person back today, but I kind of double booked myself because I need to get back to Dallas. So Kayla, being the sweetheart that she is, she's chauffeuring people back and forth between the airport right now, which I should be doing, honestly. But I'm going to make that up to Kayla. And thank you if you're out there doing that right now, Kayla. Kayla and her sweetheart came out. Very nice couple. And yeah, you know, Kayla, her voice is even sweeter in person. But and you know, just like she always does, comes out with the great observations. Daria, who's always so helpful in the chat, she drove all the way out from Utah. And again, just making brilliant observations on the spot. You know, it was like doing a live stream, but instead of having people in the chat, you know, it's just in real life. Oh, here's the people. Here's Daria. Here's Kayla. Here's Chigozi. You know, and oh my goodness, I apologize to the big strong man who came out from California who's pounding pavement. Your name is escaping me right now, but definitely not the face, definitely not the presence. When I make it down to SoCal, Jeff Young, you know, Jeff Young's waiting for that SoCal street performance. He wants to play a little guitar on the street, get the music going, you know, get the spoken information, try to pull the masses in. But I know there's a lot of people in SoCal who came out. They said they'll join up with us. But it was good to have them there. You guys remember him? He was a young guy, got out on the corner with his megaphone when I was doing it, you know, 60 days straight in Yakima. And he drove out to support. Major presence. Again, you guys, a lot of people came out from all over. You know, yeah, right, the Matrix came all the way from New York. He picked up his friend Will, Fake Mike. If you guys aren't following Fake Mike, M-I-C, like microphone, Fake Mike, Real News. Follow this man. I kept saying to him the same thing over, and I meet him, man. It's just like, the guy is hilarious. You know, some people, like you guys say I'm funny. I'm not actually funny. You guys laugh at me because I say shit I shouldn't say, and I rant and get all crazy, and I guess that can be funny, but some people are legitimately funny. Will, with the Fake Mike Real News, he's legitimately funny. He's got one-liners. He's just, you know, spontaneous, just making people laugh everywhere. And he's got that. Anyway, make sure you're supporting Fake Mike Real News. He's also connected to, I believe it's called Auditing America, big channel, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. He's stoked about September 11th, New York. So is Yeah Right, the Matrix. They're definitely down for the cause. It's a lot shorter drive for them to get out there, and that's also good news for, I think, for a lot of people. Since I know that from sending my books out. You know, when I manually mailed out 2,000 books, 70% of those books went to the Northeast. So I know the strongest following of my work is Ohio up through the Northeast. And so I think September 11th can be a huge smash in New York. Again, if you guys would like to be to something like that, but it sounds expensive. Again, you know, if you can figure out a way to budget the trip, $1,000, if there's a way to do that. You know, it's about 5 months out. If you can figure out a way to save $200 a month, you know, it could be the time of, you know, I know it's hard to put down what you're doing, family, work, but there really is something nice and spiritual and just like, what's the word? You know, energizing, revigorating. Is that the right word? Just about being around a group of people, you know, that are, you know, that they care about more than themselves. They want to make the world a better place. They want to have important conversations. They want to share information. They want to go out and try to have an impact in the community and give that community the knowledge. I mean, it just feels really good, you guys. I mean, you can't put a price tag on it. I know we're all on the treadmill of life and we're trying to keep up with the bills, so it makes it hard. I know there's tons of people who wanted to be here but couldn't because of their obligations. But again, September 11th, New York. And I mean, the one thing that we do, you know, to have in the back of your mind, we're hearing that they're already saying when this fall comes around, it could be a bad outbreak. It could be really bad. You know, they're talking about lockdowns. They're drafting the stuff at the World Health Organization. So fingers crossed that, you know, by September 11th, they haven't gone full board, you know, fascist again. But technically that's the end of summer. So, I mean, that could, you know, hopefully not, but that could be the last chance to create a really big spark and get people to see what is being done and where we're being taken. And again, we got to do that, you guys. We got to make the world a better place. Well, one of the most touching moments I had in the trip, and it was hard for me not to cry, and my eyes got a little bit watery. But, Angel, we had two angels there, the two angels who had amazing synchronicities. I'll let them share that. But one of the angels, she kind of broke down, and she was just saying how sad it is that, she can't spend more time with her child, and just the crazy stuff they're getting taught in school, and how nice it would be if there really was a community like the one that came together. We're growing food. We instead of our children sitting in slave school, instead of doing that, they're gathering in a building where, I could teach. I'm a certified teacher. I'm the best. For all you guys who hate me out there and think I'm an asshole, I'm not an asshole around children. I don't rant at children. I got endless patience for children. I always try to model good behavior. Not the. I know a lot of you guys appreciate the rants and understand the anger, but I've never thought that was really the best way to be around children. Maybe there's a time and a place to model like constructive anger, but that's never been my MO in working with children. But anyway, just teaching children about real knowledge that empowers their life, nutrition, and a lot of things that a lot of us could learn. Something I would love to study is like the flora and fauna of environment, so that if you ever were in Fallout World, you know exactly, what plants in your area are edible, survival skills, real knowledge, critical thinking. There's a time and a place for a little gematria knowledge, as we know. Can help you see through the agenda you don't want to become a victim of. So there were so many ideas here. Well, one of the big ideas that was promoted is, finding some affordable land. We've talked about it before. Yeah, right, the Matrix is pointing out that in Mexico, if you're willing to go to Mexico, you can really he was pointing out that there's a lot of old resorts in Mexico that have been abandoned. By the way, I got to point out the route from Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is on the 35th parallel, right? But from Oklahoma City to Dallas, you take Route 35 all the way there, right? And of course, JFK number 35. Just seeing it. We'll get more into all that, but the whole Catholic 35 thing. Oklahoma City equals Society of Jesus. So many churches in the town. You know what went down in OKC. But hold on. I'm extra tangential right now because I'm exhausted. That's the one thing. That's my other complaint, man. I haven't got enough sleep on this trip. I drove down here fast and furious. Never really got much of a good night's sleep, but just been running on adrenaline, having a good time. Anyway, I can't wait to get back and have a good night's rest. But, I know what I was saying. Yeah, right, the Matrix, Mexico. A lot of abandoned resorts, essentially, where there's like a building that has, room for 8. Like there used to be 8 hotel rooms there. But then also there's 30 acres. And on that acreage, there's 8 more cabanas. So essentially, like, it was a resort where 16 people or small families could be staying at once. And he's saying, man, you can get this stuff for like $300,000. And theoretically, you could have 16 people, maybe even a little bit more living there. And the property taxes are only $60 a year, so almost nothing, right? That's $5 a month in property taxes, if you do the math. But he was just saying, if you could get the right people there, like-minded people, for a lot of people, who don't have a lot, it is feasible to, possibly sell your assets or even save up, $10,000, $20,000 and then pool that money together and get these kind of properties. And if somebody could just go down and model it and see, like, say we did it, see if it sounded like cultish or, impossible, or you'd be infiltrated. If somebody can just go down there and model, look, it's working. This is what we did. We all saved up $20,000. We got this property. We're here. We're growing food. We're having community. And really, with that kind of land, I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do. Where people are pointing out, yeah, then you could grow hemp, or you could grow some microgreen. You could even start some kind of raise funds for the community by also doing something good for the world, and then have resources to achieve projects. So, coming here today and just, or for this week, I should say, and just seeing how easily people connected and got along. I mean, there was literally no drama, you guys. Just a lot of people coming together, different backgrounds, a very diverse group, and just connecting, you know, and just having a great time. And you can just see it, not wanting to separate. I mean, it's hard to say goodbye, right? You know, so it was a huge success, you guys. Okay, I think it disconnected again, but at the same time, I think it reconnected. Let me see. It's a windy. By the way, if you ever come to Oklahoma, make sure you bring the weather is crazy here, man. It can go from like 90 to 50 plus a wind chill, man. It's wild weather out here, and the locals told me that's just how it is in Oklahoma. Just all the different weather blowing in from everywhere, every which way. But man, the wind that was coming through this past week, chilly. But yeah, this is a windy place. Getting blown around right now on the car. I get the whole thing now why they say Texas sucks and Oklahoma blows, or vice versa, whatever it is. It is windy here. So that's not just some arbitrary saying, man, but yeah, so anyway, just going through the thank yous. Of course, thank you to Yeah Right the Matrix. You know, the man's super generous. He was shuttling around people the whole time, picking up people's meal tabs. Last night he didn't even want to let me get the bowling alley lanes for the group, but I was like, come on, man. And you know what makes me sad, just meeting Yeah Right the Matrix? If you guys don't follow his channel, you know, brilliant man, always putting out good information, just keeping you up on the latest, what crossed his plate, trying to put stuff on people's radar. And YouTube never lets him get much of a following, just deletes his channel so fast. His live stream got deleted yesterday. But I said to him, because it's just so obvious to me once I just met him. You know, I could already tell it through just seeing him on the screen, right? But then you meet him and you just see. The reason he's so censored, you guys, is because he's a strong, successful man, an intelligent man. And they don't want people looking at a guy like that online. A guy who, you know, made his own way, successful, you know, the American dream. He did it, right? And now with his time, he wants to get the word out. And again, they just don't want people. It's just like RPM Trey Vietnam, you know, another strong, successful man. They don't want the world having these kind of people on the screen, these kind of role models. You know, they want your role models to be, you know, these entertainers and celebrities promoting all this crazy crap. They don't want you looking at Yeah Right the Matrix. They won't even let him get 1,000 subscribers again before they delete his channel. And again, once upon a time he was Yeah Right, then he became the Matrix, and then he became Yeah Right the Matrix by the time they deleted the first 30-some channels. Now he's always got some different iteration of that, but it's just so obvious. And I mean, if you follow Yeah Right the Matrix, I mean, there's no reason to be taking down his content. There's no reason to be taking down his content. Like, people say, well, Zach, they take down your content because you rant, say crazy, angry shit. But if you guys know, I don't normally take down my videos where I might make myself look bad. They had the, you guys, one of the funniest things that was captured yesterday, that's probably part of the reason the stream got taken down too. Shout out to Corey. Shout out to Corey. Corey, I love Corey, man. Corey from Oklahoma City. He was out there with me probably more than anybody. You know, because he's right there in the town, coming out, super supportive. And because he's in the town, he knows things. So yesterday morning, when we were at the memorial, Corey said, hey, you see that man over there in the blue suit? He said, that's the general manager of Oklahoma City Thunder. It was weird. He was just like standing out on the corner by himself. And he's like, you should go try to engage with him. Ask him about the NBA and see if he'll say anything. If you guys are watching the stream, you saw this. It was amazing. But so anyway, I began to approach him. And as I approached him, I greeted him. And man, the cops just swooped in, grabbed this man, and you wouldn't believe how fast it happened unless you saw it. But they just swooped in, grabbed this guy, and escorted him into a unmarked car, and the unmarked car just zoomed off right out of there. And in a way, it almost felt, I was like, was this a practice operation for them? Like, it felt like he was like a worm on a hook, like a piece of bait just to see if we'd go try to bite the worm as the fish, just to see how fast they could swoop him out of there. But I was trying to just ask about, hey, LeBron, you know, I could hardly say anything. It was just amazing how fast they got from the corner into the car, and the car just zooming out of there. But it was all captured. When Craig puts the documentary together, I mean, you'll see how it was, but it's like, why? Why can't we ask the man a question? And in a way, it kind of reveals, like, who these people are. Like, that guy doesn't even have sway over his own life. The police just grabbed him like he was some kind of puppet, and, you know, they're like, sorry, you're not going to be here being asked questions by these people. We need you to be here now. You know, he doesn't even have control over where he is in the city of Oklahoma City. The police are going to dictate that for him. But also in that stream yesterday, if it was captured, we got to meet the head of the School of Journalism at University of Oklahoma, and man, is that campus huge. I could not believe how big that campus is. Literally much bigger than way bigger than the downtown where I live in Yakima, Washington. I mean, Yakima is like a tiny little nothing compared to how big. I could not believe how big their campus is. But yeah, if you saw us at University of Oklahoma, we were positioned at the School of Journalism. We thought that's the perfect place to be since we're kind of exposing media. And anyway, the next day at the memorial site, the head of that department ended up being there. And I had a nice conversation with him, and he seemed to be engaged by what I was sharing about Oklahoma City and 201. In case somebody somehow is watching this stream who just got here and doesn't even know where they are, but they're listening, you know, one of the main things that we try to educate about is how the federal government is very agenda-oriented. They do these terrible things in the world. Oklahoma City, JFK, where we're on the way to right now, Dealey Plaza, and they blame it on boogeymen, patsies, you know. And these things are done to shock the nation so that they essentially will say, well, God, that horrible thing happened, so, all right, the government's solution is we got to do this, which is giving up a little rights and liberties, but it's going to keep us safer. Again, we get baited with these things. Oklahoma City was that. JFK was that. All of these are part of an ongoing vicious narrative. But, again, gematria comes from Kabbalah. Practice of coding numbers into words. Ancient practice. Real thing that most people have never heard of. And it's just the alphabetic order. Turning words into numbers using the alphabetic order. And again, April 19th, for example, the day of the Oklahoma City building bombing. That's the day in history Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. Special day to them. Day in history marred with tragedy. Day the American Revolution began. That's why it's Patriots Day. Just a big date in history if you pay attention. April 19th, again and again. And when you write out Ignatius of Loyola, it has a numerical value of 201. When you write out Timothy McVeigh, it's 201. When you write out Terry Lynn Nichols, it's 201. Again, the day of the bombing. New information brought to us by a nice, beautiful couple who came out yesterday. They had two more 201s that I was not aware of that just build the case. But just beyond the 201, what are the odds that the man who tried to blow up that same building in '83 was put to death by the state for that on the day of the bombing, April 19th, 95, and his name, Robert Snell, equals 201. And then Timothy McVeigh supposedly radicalized at the white supremacist camp in Arkansas, where Bill Clinton's from, who was the president at the time. And, God, I want to say the guy's name is Robert G. Millar. If that's not right, whatever his name actually is, the way they do it with the middle initial, it's also 201. And, again, it happened on a Wednesday. Wednesday's named after Mercury. Wednesday's named after Mercury. Mercury on the periodic table, it's the 201 element. In Roman mythology, it's the trickster, it's deception. On a Wednesday named after Mercury, the bombing happened, and then Timothy McVeigh's arrested in a Mercury Marquis, which Kayla caught right before we came down here. Mercury Marquis 201. And then what's amazing is, again, Roman mythology is also 201. What's amazing is just outside the Dealey Plaza, you got the... You got the these Texas, or where am I? Oklahoma on the way to Texas. These people like to drive faster than me. I'm a West Coast dude. I'm used to slower speeds. I was already going well over, but they want to go faster. All right, I'm getting over for you guys. I'm too tired to drive too fast, but what was I saying? I was talking about all the 201s. Oh yeah. Okay, Roman mythology, all roads lead to Rome. The Jesuits behind this, clearly, they serve Rome. But again, the statue that's right there from the Catholic Church that's across the street, that has Jesus in the pose like this, with his back to the memorial, the verse that's there in tribute to that statue is from when the Romans sacked Jerusalem, where Jesus wept. And again, so that statue is in tribute to Roman history and the Romans destroying, Jerusalem, the buildings, the structures. It's all right there, right? And let's not forget the Holy Bible equals 201, right? The Holy Bible 201, the Jesuit order 201. There's that interesting phrase in the Bible, the name in tribute to Satan, where he's referred to as that old serpent, and that's also 201. And I mean, this stuff is evil and satanic. I didn't get to go on the memorial, as you know. They kept me out. Apparently they had a meeting. They knew I was coming down. They didn't want me in there. But some of the truth seekers went through. There's a couple more. By the way, I think we got a new truth seeker romance. I won't spill the details. I'm sure in due time that'll come out. But yeah, I think we got another truth seeker couple. I think they're on their nice little vacation together right now. They're staying a few extra days in town. They're going to pound pavement together. But I think they also intend to go to the museum, unless they're identified by them too and not allowed in. We'll find out that soon enough. Hopefully that's not the case. But they did let Kayla in the museum, which is good. And Kayla said the museum is interesting because there's all these different rooms. But there's one room it makes you go through at the end. You have to go through a room where it closes the door on you too. It's kind of like meant to make you experience the panic of the explosion and just feeling like you're trapped. And when you're in that room where it makes you go through it and you're trapped in there and you have to wait till the experience is over, what it is they play very loud the sound of what it was like to hear the bomb. I'm sure it's not as loud as the actual bomb was, but it's very loud and it goes on for quite a while. It's like a long sustained explosion, and they make you experience that. And after that experience ends, then the door opens and you can go to the last room in the museum of false history, and then you have all the faces up on the wall apparently of the 168 victims. And they say 149 adults, 19 children. They're next to Jesus, the Jesus statue. There's 19 granite posts in tribute to the 19 children who were supposedly killed. And but anyway, it just makes you experience that. So it feels like Kayla said, it felt kind of gross, just like, knowing that you're in a spot where a bunch of people were killed by this big blast and this story that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And hold on, I gotta speed up here. This car's going too slow. I'll never make it to Dallas. Hold on. Okay, but yeah, that's how it ends. The trauma of the bomb. Guess we're coming up on construction here. So, what else is interesting is if you guys saw the multiple times I filmed. By the way, if you guys don't know, there's several videos on GematriaEffectNews 23 from while we're down here. I couldn't use 25 until after Sunday. Sunday morning, it wasn't even letting me live stream. It was saying I was still suspended, which didn't make sense. The suspension should have been up. But GematriaEffectNews 23, a lot of content's there, but in several of the videos, you can see the outside of the memorial. And in one of those videos, somebody left in the comments that that very bizarre window pattern on the memorial is actually an old code sequence for Microsoft. They recognized it because they work in that. And what's really interesting is one of the rooms in the museum is a tribute to Microsoft Windows 95. So when somebody said, like, I read the comment, I was like, really? That's what the window pattern's about, is Microsoft? And now finding out that there's a Microsoft Windows 95 exhibit in the room. Again, the reason this would be in there, you guys, when you think about it, is, remember, let's go back to 1968, the year Timothy McVeigh was born, the year 2001 A Space Odyssey came out, the year, you know what went on, 9/11, World Trade Center construction, Muhammad Atta, the Quran Code, you know the rest, COVID, you know, HIV, you know, New York Jets, Super Bowl, you know everything that went in 68 that connects with so many of these riddles. And, all right, hold on. Tired brain. Okay. 2001 A Space Odyssey. Remember that the artificial intelligence, if you haven't seen 2001 A Space Odyssey, it's essentially about a movie about like computers and artificial intelligence overtaking man. Consider that movie came out 12 years after the first artificial intelligence camp was put on. That summer camp in 1956 by the Rockefellers. They spearheaded that AI meeting. If you've seen that movie, that new movie Free Guy about AI, I mean, 56 is everywhere in that movie. We know what's up with 56. But HAL is the name of the technology in 2001 A Space Odyssey, HAL. And it said that the name of that movie is a tribute to IBM, the big computer company in the early days that really, you know, helped us advance computers to where they are. But H is the letter before I, A is the letter before B, M is the letter, hold on, am I saying things backwards? H is before I, A is, I'm tired. HAL and IBM. H before I, A before B, L before M. That's how it is. So HAL is one letter before the letters of IBM. And Microsoft, if you don't know the history of Microsoft, Bill Gates' mother is connected to Microsoft. You know, he comes from, you know, a very wealthy family connected to banking, technology, and, you know, same birthday as Jonas Salk, so now he's Mr. Vaccines too. But there's a connection there. You see what I'm saying? I mean, everything that went down in 1968, 2001 A Space Odyssey paying tribute to IBM, IBM connected to Microsoft. You know, Microsoft, Mr. Bill Gates, who's like this, some people see him as like this oracle, this brilliant man who just sees the future. He knows when to simulate things just before they happen. That's why he's one of the richest men in the world, because he knows what's happening before it happens. I mean, that's people in Seattle's take on Bill Gates. The reason he did Event 201 and all that's because he just has that billionaire genius sense. You know, some people are thinking that's the case. And again, anything's possible. I mean, I suppose it's possible. Doesn't seem that way, though. Seems like it's a lot more sinister than that. Seems like he's the chosen one because of his Jonas Salk birthday and all that. But anyway, it's just mind-blowing. And this is what's awesome about having a community that grows and builds. And, you know, somebody just catching that outside of that building is in tribute to seemingly Microsoft, which to me, I was like, well, that's interesting. Maybe that's true. But then finding out that they have a Microsoft exhibit in the room. And again, just think about it, though. These actions that they do against us, right? These actions that they do against us, like the 95 OKC bombing was a precursor to the World Trade Center bombing. And between Oklahoma City and 9/11, what was happening in society in the years between that, you know, a few years, and next thing we knew, we had 9/11 and the Patriot Act, and then next thing we knew, the big telecommunications companies, AT&T and the rest of them. And again, AT&T overlooks the Oklahoma City site. We talked about the whole connection with that. How maybe I'll get to it in a second, but again, I mean, it's like a tribute to the companies and the government, the corporations that are really helping build this world one ritual at a time. Through these activities, it allowed us to say, yeah, we need to be kept safe from the next psychopath. Maybe the Patriot Act. I don't want to be in the next Oklahoma City building bombing. I don't want to be in the next World Trade Center. I don't want to be the next multi of some, militant psychopath. So we need the government to keep us safe from these people. And again, because of computers and these telecommunication companies and their ability to keep records and databases, well, they've helped build the society we're now in. And you think about it, that museum, it's paying tribute to the tragedy and the supposed story of how it happened, the technology that was there at the time. And now it's fun for people to go back and look and be like, wow, look at Windows 95 and how basic that was and how far we've come. And for me, growing up in that era, I still remember the 90s in high school. It was like a current events class, the textbook we had at the time. That there was a section in there, Bill Gates, talking about how in the future there'd be this handheld device that we could do so much of our life through, shopping, banking, planning, and we were just wondering, like, what in the world could this be? Because it was like just before, the cell phone became a common thing, and it's just, Microsoft, just looking back at all of it, our textbooks. I remember I was 11 years old when Oklahoma City happened, almost 12. I was born in 83, so I would have turned 12, that July. And I just remember that day so well because we had a unexpected gathering in the gymnasium to talk about the tragedy that day, and then I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and in addition to the tragedy that day, it was crazy because there was the biggest windstorm I'd ever seen in my lifetime. People's shingles were after school walking home. It was just so windy and. Just shingles everywhere and branches and just all sorts of stuff down, just property, people's houses, things got tipped over, messed up, stuff blown around in the street that shouldn't be there, garbage all over the place, people's garbage tip over, garbage blown around. And I just thought, what a day, what a day. Somebody blew up a building in America. Why? Why is the weather like this today? And it's funny looking back, that's the 109th day of the year. Of course, April 19th, it's the day associated with Ignatius Loyola, the Jesuit military leader. But then, as we know, military is 109, and if I'm not mistaken, weather is also 109. We were having crazy weather. And I now that being in Oklahoma, I'm like, that's weird that we were having this crazy wind that day, because this is a windy place here in Oklahoma. It's like we were having Oklahoma's weather, but even more amplified on the day and who knows, maybe other places in the nation were having a super windy day that day too. I can only speak for the Pacific Northwest, but that's just one of those days that you don't forget because of the big trauma. And by the way, you guys, with regards to there being this big traumatic death story in this city, as we know, death equals 97. If you haven't read my latest book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus. Again, there's a lot more in that book besides 9/11 and the pandemic. Well, what else is in that book is, a lot of things, including the death of Naya Rivera, if you remember. Her death in 2020 from Glee, very suspicious, and anniversary of another Glee death. I believe her body was found, if I remember right, but there were so many 97s encoded in her death, as well as the death of the Kennedy. Remember, the Kennedy family lost a mother and daughter in a big 97 ritual. If I remember right, their body was discovered on the 97th day of the year, which was the leap year. It was 4/6, and that was just before we got Joe Biden, number 46. Of course, JFK killed at age 46, another Catholic number. Again, Catholics 35 forwards, 46 in reverse. JFK, number 35, killed at age 46. Biden, number 46, the second Catholic president, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age after being elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. But, by the way, again, that's where we're going right now. We're on the way to Dallas. Going to check out Dealey, Plaza. I'm hoping I'll get there and some things will just blow me away. Kind of want to see if I can see the Trident Rambo's talking about. and just see what else is there. You know, being at the Oklahoma City site, a Masonic temple on the campus, Catholic church right across the street, AT&T building overlooking the site, and again, just in case you guys didn't get this, just recapping, just, you know, major discoveries. We already knew about a bunch of 68s that were connected to Oklahoma City. Again, we know McVeigh born in 68. The building blew up 68 days after the governor's birthday, who's Jesuit educated at Georgetown, just like Bill Clinton. But then we get there and we realize, shout out to Daria, we realize that the judge who oversaw McVeigh's case, where he got sentenced to death, that judge was born June 8th, 6'8", right? 6'8". And, of course, McVeigh born in 68. But then we find out that the AT&T building, that building that it's in, it used to be Southwestern Bell or whatever. Before, you know, AT&T took over essentially Bell Telecommunications. And anyway, that building, though, turned 68 years old in 95. It was established in 1927, turned 68 in 95. Across the street, the Catholic Church, remember Catholicism 68, Solar System 68, Mathematics 68, Helios 68, which is the sun, Catholic Church Sunday. But the statue across the street is called "And Jesus Wept." And Jesus wept, which is interesting because the verse in the Bible, it just says Jesus wept. It doesn't say "and Jesus wept." But because they added that and Jesus wept equals 68, just like Catholicism, you know? Same cipher, all in the same cipher. Catholicism, mathematics, solar system, and Jesus wept. And let's not forget in that cipher, Patriots Day 68. It happened on Patriots Day too, right? And again, Catholics, Jesuits, the American Revolutionary War began on April 19th. The Jesuit fingerprints all over the beginning of this nation. And I mean, we should be able to understand it, you guys. I mean, the Jesuits are clever, right? They trick people into going along with their agendas. They trick people into thinking they're free. And I don't think it's an accident. I'm pretty sure they're the ones that put the final coining on the term freedom. You know, you got to be kind of dumb to think that you're free in this society when you're learning about your freedom in slave school. Slowing down here, we're in the traffic. Wow, the radio's been on the whole time. Shit, I just heard it for the first time. I couldn't hear it over the driving, but it slowed down. So far, we didn't get a copyright. Damn, I didn't mean to have the radio on. They better not take down this stream for copyright. Could you guys hear that? Here, I'm trying to look at the chat. Could you guys hear the radio? Could you guys hear the radio until just now? Let me know if the radio was coming through before. I hope it wasn't. Between the traffic noise and my voice, hopefully it was burying the audio. All right. Just at the end there, you might have heard the song. I started to hear the Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Scar Tissue. It was coming through the radio because I slowed down because we're going through the traffic, and then I just noticed. But, okay, that's good. That's good. I'm sure they would have took down the stream already if it was playing the radio that whole time, so that's good. But yeah, it just... Yesterday they took down our stream for copyright, and somebody said that it might have been the bass off like a stereo system. All of a sudden some heavy bass was coming through in the background. I couldn't even hear it. You know, I got my tinnitus and it's windy and I'm talking. But, it's just a joke that just a little heavy bass might have come through in the background from some beat, some hip-hop song or something, and to just kill 4 hours of content. And that's what's annoying too, is just, they just outright just delete the whole thing. Not even an appeal process. It's just gone. So I got the fingers crossed that somebody was screen recording yesterday. Got a good chunk of that. Again, Craig did record a lot of it. But he's only going to make, he wants his film to be 30 minutes to an hour so people watch it. And but man, there was just so many great things in that stream yesterday. And again, it wasn't just my stream. Yeah, right. The Matrix was having a great stream. I was having a great stream. I believe Will at Fake Mike Real News. I like how he carries around a whisk. If you guys don't know his thing, he carries around a whisk, like that you beat eggs with, making the batter, because it looks like a microphone, right? Fake Mike Real News. And yeah, that guy just a riot. But hold on, going down the list, more thank yous. just so many people to thank. Hey, by the way, a lot of people to thank are going to be at this Dallas thing today too. Shout out to all the Dallas people that came up. There were a lot. People of all ages. Something good's in the water in Dallas. Perhaps so many people aren't awake in Dallas because of the JFK thing. Just a lot of people in a big city, an event to be questioned. But yeah, a lot of good people came from Dallas. That's also the reason I'm going down to Dallas today. I've never been there before, so it makes sense to come and pound pavement. And I'm hoping just being on the ground, I'll spot some things that'll just blow my mind, like the bombing site. But people came out from Tennessee. Thank you to Lee from Tennessee. Thank you to Sean from Tennessee. I have a feeling both are making the trek today, even though it's the wrong it's also technically the wrong direction for me. I'm going further south, so it's going to make the trip back home a little bit longer, but it's okay. But these gentlemen came all the way out from Tennessee. Sean's got great hosting skills, good at leading a group, keeping people having a good time. And he's going to be there in Dallas with us today. And we met two Hassans. One's from Dallas, one's from Oklahoma City. It's funny. There ended up being 3 Seans that came out. 3 Seans and 2 Hassans. And, just similar name, right? 2 Hassans, 3 Seans. But, all of them brilliant people. The Hassan in Oklahoma City has that great voice for radio. He got the perfect voice, all this good charisma, also a very funny guy. And a lot of people I met, I was like, you guys got to start putting out content. You guys got things to say. People will resonate with you. Really, I think there's so many of you in the world who'd be great content creators. Again, the more people making the effort to get out the word, the faster the word's going to spread. So again, don't be shy, you guys. And if that's the thing, you're shy, you don't have to put your face on the screen. You don't have to put your real name out there. You can start that way. Maybe eventually you feel more comfortable. You want to put your face out there. It's up to you. But again, there's just so many ways to create content and still, maintain somewhat anonymous. And again, honestly, you guys, if you're afraid of creating content because, then you're worried you might end up in some government database. Honestly, you guys, as sad as it is, we're living in the age of databases and surveillance. Watching the channels you do, including yours truly, don't be surprised if they're putting you in a database, right? I mean, that's why all these big tech platforms make us put in all this information. They're keeping records. They're keeping track of your history. And, I don't want to scare people, but the worst story out of what happened this weekend is a woman, very nice woman. She had a connecting flight coming to Oklahoma City. Her flight got laid over by several hours, delayed by several hours. So while she was in her delay, she went to the bar, and just like people do, she was having a few drinks at the bar, and police officer came up to her and said that somebody complained that she was being loud, and just instantly went cuffs on, and she got arrested. And she got put in a cell for 25 hours. And then she missed her flight. And then she essentially had to fly from Ohio to Minneapolis. And then when she was determined to come, so then she got the next flight. And then she had to fly back to Atlanta and then Oklahoma City. But I mean, who's arresting a woman at the bar? Even if, let's say she was, I wasn't there. Even if she's a little bit loud, all the woman posts on her social media is people in this community stuff. She's sharing the Gematria work. And, but based on what happened to me at the museum, and also the guy going around with his manila envelopes, it's sad. So, again, I'm not saying this stuff to scare people, but I'm just saying this is the age we live in, you guys. And if they're going to harass us and, violate our rights, that's not the reason to quit and tuck our head like turtles. Again, it's the reason really to be more courageous and help build our numbers, because if enough people, Like, you guys, imagine, most of the people who came in drove. There were some people who flew, but most people drove. Hey, Cade, if you're out there, man, I hope all's well. Cade was supposed to fly in from New Orleans. I never heard from him. Part of me's worried he got messed with. Some people were able to fly in without incident. Chigozi was able to fly in. Craig was able to fly in. But, you know, I mean, somebody got hassled at TSA and missed their flight because TSA was holding them up. And then they had to get another flight later in the day. I mean, that also happened. But again, the point I'm making is, like, if 1 million people were coming, like, if our numbers were that big, and really they should be, and they will be if we continue to work hard and get out the word. I mean, we need like 1 million people to gather in the city to say enough's enough. Look, there's people who care. There's 1 million strong here that say enough is enough. We're gonna, you know. Anyway, if there was that many people, they wouldn't be able to do this and harass. It would be, they don't have enough agents to stop something like that. So there really is safety in numbers. And I'd ultimately say, because not enough people are being courageous right now and standing up to the tyranny, it makes it easier to pick on the number of people who are. So, and shout out to Kayla and her partner. You know, her partner would be best friends with my sweet lady, because they both got the same mindset. You know, they're sweet, beautiful. They're sweet and beautiful, and you know, they just. They want to have the best life, and they know that when you speak out, when you're a dissident, it can bring, it can bring unwanted grief into your life. And it was funny because we were talking about this before we found out about the woman who got arrested at the airport, and she just doesn't want that to happen. You know, understandably. You know, who wants to deal with that? But I think she also is getting it, just like Sweet Lady's getting it, that, yeah, weird stuff's going on in the world, and if we don't take a stand and make something change, you know, you can tuck your head all you want, but the world's going to close in on you, and you might be at that point saying, man, I guess maybe I should have done something while I still could, you know? My greatest fear in this world is not that something bad's going to happen to me for speaking out. My greatest fear is that, like, literally the world comes where if you don't comply with the BS agenda, you're in a cage and you're now, you know, a guinea pig for, you know, the big P, if you will. Since I've been taking down videos, that's everything I'm annoyed about. I posted a video last night that never made it through processing. I thought I did, because I made sure to upload all the way, and then it got to processing, and I put it away, and I noticed this morning it never went through. But I tried to put up a video last night to let people know I was going to be in Dallas today. So I think that's actually more censorship. But, yeah, again, I hate to censor myself. I'm just saying, it's just, the censorship seems to be hot right now, so I'm just being a little extra cautious. I think you know what I mean when I say don't want to be a big guinea pig for the big P. I'm sure you know who that big P is. They just happened to sponsor the 94th Oscars. You know, Jada Pinkett Smith has this hair condition. A few days after the 94th Oscars, coincidentally, Big P, they just finished phase 3 clinical trials for the new drug that, you know, just happens to be a treatment for, what is it, alopecia? All these coincidences. You know, driving down here, there's a shooting at the subway. Coincidentally, all the cameras are out. Coincidentally, 33 shots fired. You know. But coincidentally, Oklahoma City, the day they execute the guy who tried to blow it up supposedly in 83. What's happening, on that day, the building's actually getting blown up. It's just like, come on, man. All this stuff's so federal. Blamed on a federal military agent. But yeah, there's a lot of people to say thank you to. Again, I'm tired right now. I'm foggy. Something was that you know, a lot of people really inspired me, but really, I have a thing for young people. A mother and a daughter came out from Dallas, and I believe they're going to join up with us. So they got to be on somebody's live stream yesterday. They were on our live stream before it got deleted, but you know, I really did. They thought I was just trying to be nice. I thought they were sisters. And it's funny, one of their names starts with an S, the other starts with a T, kind of like those main letters in sister. But turns out one was the mother, and they're both really taking care of themselves, both beautiful and young. And yeah, they were just so nice, so friendly, so knowledgeable. But her daughter's only 19, and that tells you how young the mom's looking too. And even though the daughter looked young, you wouldn't think she was 19 because she was so brilliant. She just had so much knowledge and so much to share, and this big, nice, outgoing personality, and just so well spoken. But it's just what was nice about that for me is, there's a lot of nice people in the community, but sometimes honestly, like I think like when I make a video, when I end the video, I'm like, God, Zach, why did I go on that rant and say that, and that wasn't necessary, and all that's going to do is hurt somebody's feelings and piss somebody off. And sometimes it's okay, but sometimes maybe I do it too much, or I'm like in a worse mood than normal, and maybe crossing people's lines. But just to see all the nice people that come out, including that wife, or not wife, but daughter. I'm like, if I'm not scaring them away and they're willing to drive all this distance to come support the work and the message and be out here with us, I guess maybe I'm not being too ugly and too dark sometimes, because sometimes I feel like, oh my God, I just made the video that's going to scare everybody away. And yeah, just a lot of the nice people who came out, they made me think like, okay, maybe I'm not being so bad. So let me see, how long we've been talking for? Over an hour, so that means I'm about 2 hours out. Yeah, it's hard. I wish I could read the chat and interact with you guys, but I better keep my eyes on the road, so not having an accident. I'm already driving tired enough. But yeah, again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who came out. I know there's all sorts of names I should be saying right now. Oh my God. There was a father and a mother, a nice young couple that drove all the way up from Houston, but they had to get back from work, but they brought their 2 young sons. And, just to bring the whole family and be there, and, that was really cool. And I wish they could have stayed longer. But yeah, it was just a reminder, I know what's going through his head. What kind of world do my children have with what's going on right now? His boys were, I forget the exact age of his boys, but they were young. They were young. And again, what kind of world for children, for all children? And really, guys, we should all really think, like, I know this community is like diverse spirituality. We got everybody in here, but hard to say what happens when we leave this world. Is there an afterlife? Is it reincarnation? I think regardless of what it is, whatever word you want to use, there's got to be some kind of karma system, it would seem. It's possible there's not. Some of you think that absolutely not. You just go to death and it's all darkness and it's just over. It's possible. But again, they're probably, I think there's probably something after life. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It's always transferring, right? And so our energy, it's got to go somewhere. And if Jesus is your spiritual, you're growing up, you live a life of service and truth and justice, and living to help others and benefit others. And really all people are you should do that for. But for the children, it's the easiest to do that for, right? It's the easiest to do that for a child. Sometimes we're sick of other adults, and it's harder to have sympathy and to want to help them, and they should have known better, or why should I be putting their boots on for them in the morning? They're my age, or they're even older than me. But for children, most of us at least don't have that problem, because we're like, they're the children, they're the future. They're still coming up. They got to learn things. They got to have positive behavior modeled for them. Really, and honestly, you guys, that's what happened to me when I was young. I was like, this world's messed up, man. What can I do to try and make something better? Well, how about, do something for the children of the world, and try to keep this stream going all the way down to Dallas. It's just, I'm a little bit tired, and I'm like, can I come up with 3 hours of things to talk about right now? I really just want to take a nap. But I was saying, the children, man, I feel like everybody can find inspiration and common purpose in why we really need to do something for, at the very least, standing up for the children of this world. And yeah, you know, just seeing the father and the mother come out with a child, and whoa. This is the first place I went through where it's kind of got a hill here. I mean, it's flat country out here. That's part of the reason the speed limits are so much faster out here too. Just everything is so flat. Pacific Northwest, curves, hills, mountains. Out here is the flatlands, flat and open. But yeah, I mean, we really do gotta. So again, September 11th, New York. If you can plan, if you can be there. And I got to make sure I got Sweet Lady on board, but I can tell there's already going to be a lot of people disappointed if I backed out. So I feel like I'm in for September 11, 2022. Of course, I got to get Sweet Lady on board, and I think it'd actually be easy to get her on board because she has friends in New York that she knows from Burma. When they came over as refugees, they got split up. She got sent to Washington State. They got sent to New York. She'd be done with her school stuff by then. So, you know, again, her and I can take a vacation out there for the period of time. And while she's, you know, reconnecting with her friends, we could be doing the truth-seeking thing, the truth-speaking thing, right where we need to be. Where really, you know, Oklahoma City was a major operation to introduce this idea of, you know, terrorism and how destructive it can be and why your government needs to keep you so safe, so you need less rights and liberties. But on 9/11, it went to a whole new level. And again, from what we know, it's so easy to show how the dots can be connected. And by the way, the other thing that's cool about New York for me is I'm going to be done with my book real soon. I know you guys have been hearing me say that for like, Zach, you've been saying that for 5 months now. I know, but I really am close. It will be done very soon. And what I'm going to do is, since the company that, you know, for all you guys who say, Zach's a shill, he has books. Hey, you guys can have books too. What you have to do, all you have to do to have books, I mean, you gotta save up a little money. You do the self-publishing thing with a company like BookBaby. You know, you pay them to print your book, and they'll help you distribute it too on all these platforms. I mean, that's how it works. So again, just because you have a book doesn't mean you're a shill. You can become a published author, but you're self-published. I don't have a publishing company behind me. I'm a self-published author. I use BookBaby to do it. But the thing is, they're in New York, right? So what I'm going to do when we do go to New York is I'm going to order a bunch of books, because I also have, it's shipping too, right? But I don't have to have them ship them because they're right there in New York. So I'm going to have them print a bunch of books. I'll try to rent like a van or something, and we'll just, you know, you guys can just be helping me get out the word and passing out books that day and just trying to really spread the knowledge and the awareness. By the way, for the gentleman out there that offered me the billboard space, I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you. If you're watching, I got to be honest. The reason I haven't gotten back to you yet is because I'm worried that if you advertise for me in Times Square, which I'm super grateful for, I'm just worried that something's going to happen to you, man. So we'll talk more about it. I don't know. I feel like that advertisement would get me so much traction, which is what we need. But I just want to make sure you know, like, my history of the shit I've had to go through for putting out this work. I don't want something bad to come into your life because my work's up in Times Square, which just blows my mind. And, so I will be in touch. I just been thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't want something bad to come into this guy's life. Because, but you know what? If you really do want to do it, maybe that's what we promote. Maybe that's the ad we put up. Maybe a picture of the new book and the meetup on 9/11, 2022. Maybe that's what we do. So if you're out there, I'll send you an email when I get home. It's just, if you're wondering why I haven't gotten in contact, I mean, that's honestly why. If you're like, oh, come on, Zach, I just want to do it again. I don't want to see anybody else, have their house messed up or just any of the shit I've had to deal with. Feds come out to your house, So that's been the delay. And let me see, how long have I been driving now? Only 10 more minutes. Well, the good news is, guess that means a little more than an hour and a half to go. We will be in Dallas. And again, it'll be my first time there. Never been to Dallas before. Again, we're meeting up in Dealey Plaza. If you want to join us, Dealey Plaza. I should be there before 3 p.m. to figure out where to park. Hopefully it's easy to park around there. Live and learn. And again, just one last hoorah down here in the area. So, and I do think that there's going to be a good little gathering. For all the people in Dallas, I did say yesterday I'd try to be there by 1, sorry. Ended up having to meet up with a few people this morning who were in town, do a few more things. So I got on the road a little bit later than I wanted to. But we'll be there before 3. Again, when I took off, the ETA said 2:18. And it should be close to then, because yeah, I think I'll just get gas afterwards as long as I don't run out before then. I think I got enough gas. So again, just so you guys know, it's hard for me to read the chat because it's so small. Hey Sarah, I just looked down, and right as I looked down, Sarah's sending a super chat again. Sarah, you are so generous. Sarah, seriously, too generous. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, I do appreciate the gas money. I mean, trip has been kind of expensive, but well worth it, you know. Well worth it. You couldn't have put a price on this trip. Hold on. I think we're still connected. Looked like we had a little flutter there, but I think we're still connected. Yeah, I mean, you know, the truly things that are priceless, experiences that are priceless, and, you know, creating good memories and just doing what a lot of people thought, you know, so many people look at people like us and they think we're weirdos and we're crazy and we're not normal, and, you know. But I mean, everything that was modeled in the trip, and so much of it's censored now, just, again, you guys, nothing but good, interesting conversations, people having a good time. I mean, really, you know, we were just modeling, like, what needs to happen, just even outside of truth, just, we live in this society that's being broken down, right? Over time, we've been separated from nature. We really, in a way, we're separated from ourselves. We don't, you know, in our 13 years of slave school, we're not learning about, you know, how to be in touch with ourselves and our emotions and how to take care of our body. So separated from nature, separated from ourselves, and then in the time of this pandemic thing, separated from each other. And again, just people living in fear. We modeled the opposite of all that. Just how to come together, how to, again, just live like normal people, how to have a good time, how to have important conversations. All the things that we learned the country was supposed to be about, you know? How are you supposed to be an informed populace unless you're actually getting together in physical spaces and having great conversations and engaging with communities? I guess if I have another complaint about Oklahoma City, man, it's a ghost town out there. Where are the people out in Oklahoma City, man? God, the suburb, there must be like some suburb or something, but outside of the Bricktown area at night, man, it's dead. And Children of the Corn kept coming to my mind because I was laughing. At nighttime, you got all these kids that are probably like between age 13 and maybe 18 at the oldest, but just tons of young kids. They do all the rental scooters. They're like, instead of like a motorcycle gang, it's like a scooter gang just taking over the streets. I was like, this is interesting. But I mean, mostly a dead town. It comes a little bit alive at night, and just lots of children just on their own, just hanging out, playing together. And I've never seen anything like that in a town before, so I was trying to figure out how that happened. It's like, how did this become the culture? The kids just come down here and hang out. You know, you're used to being out at night in a city. I mean, it's like people drinking, adults. City's just full of children hanging out. I mean, there are adults out there, but God, like half the nightlife is young children. So I never seen anything like that before. Not in now that I think about it, more, when I've been in Mexico, I've noticed, you know, a lot more young children out at night, you know, and are treated more like adults in Mexico. a lot of the children that were out at night did look like they were of Hispanic descent. So maybe bringing a little bit of that culture. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just thought it was funny sometimes, like, cars couldn't get down the road because the children in their convoy of scooters took over the streets. I was just like, this is funny. This is funny. We had this young guy, he wanted to get on the megaphone because he saw me carrying it around. I let him use it, and the cop wasn't happy about it. But yeah, he was having fun, so. Anyway, just lots of little fun things happen. But again, for all the people who came out, I know they Googled deleting comments, so try to make sure that you're. But by the way, if you post a comment in a Google video, a YouTube video, I would get in the practice of, before you post it, select all, copy, so you copy your comment so you don't lose it, unless it's just like a few words. But I mean, if you type out like a nice paragraph or something, I would copy that comment, and then I would paste it. Or not, excuse me, you don't necessarily need to paste it, but just have the comment copied, because so often when you publish the comment, it just disappears. It's just gone. And it's annoying. They do it to my own comments on my own videos. Sometimes even my pinned comments disappear. It's like, what in the world? But for all the people out there who came out and supported and who are content creators, again, if you come across this video, if you could just like, hey, yo, I was there, Zach. Again, this is where my content's at. On YouTube, this is my channel. On Facebook, this is my channel. On Instagram, this is my channel, my website. I would like to, when I get back home and, have more time, and I'll just put up a resource for all the people who came out, who are creating content, going to start creating content. I hope I inspired a few people who by the way, Alex, sorry we didn't get to hang out again, man. I want to spend more time with you, but there's a man who drove out from California, Alex, totally brilliant, and just so good at just like things all around us. Most people will just never connect or just overlook every day. He just points right at it and he says, look at this, look at the symbolism of this, how important this was to the Romans. He kept delivering like these 30-second, 1-minute sound bites, if you will, which really does connect more with the people who are used to sound bites. We got interviewed by the journalism students at University of Oklahoma, and they need us to rap and just say everything in a minute. It's like, God, just learning just this bullshit way of reporting. Everything in a minute? How much can you say in a minute? I mean, you can actually say a lot in a minute. Especially get efficient with your words, but still, I mean, it's like the stuff we need to teach about, give us 5 minutes. Can we just get 5 minutes? But man, you watch the news, I mean, they're flipping through stories, 30 seconds, a minute, 20 seconds. It's what journalism is now. And but anyway, Alex, man, he'd be perfect because he says so much in so little time, and he said he doesn't exactly want to put his face out there, but again, you don't have to, Alex. I hope you see this video, man, and I hope you leave a comment, say, hey, I'm posting content right here. But I mean, you said like 50 different things while we were down there that just people need to know. And I mean, I'd like to hear some of them again too, because it's like, oh man, why didn't I think of that before? Why didn't I notice that? But yeah, you take what Alex knows, what a person like Rambo knows. But by the way, the two young, beautiful women who look like sisters but are mother and daughter, they're really into Vedic astrology, which is another, there's tropical astrology and then there's Vedic, if I'm saying that right. And they were explaining how important that is and how that fits in. Rambo, if you're out there, do you do Vedic astrology? He probably does, but the young woman, only 19, she printed out a nice packet for me. I got it in the trunk. Can't wait to get into it when I get home. But yeah, just keep building the knowledge. There's always more. There's more observations to make. There's more dots to connect. There's more things to know. And that's the beauty of community. It allows you to bring it all together a lot faster because you got so many more people researching. You got so many more sets of eyes. I was thinking we couldn't make a more convincing case, on the night of April 18th for Oklahoma City. And then I get there in the morning, April 19th. And, we got another beautiful couple out. Drove several hours to be there with us. And man, they got I mean, possibly the most important finds there was yet that we didn't even have before. 2 more 201s that are just so unbelievable. And yeah, again, good news about me not being done with the book that are in there. I can connect it so much, knowing about the Turner Diaries and the Capitol Insurrection in that book and all the 201s and everything they did here in 9/11. It all just fits together so perfect. It all fits together so perfect. It's just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. So, because of the extra time, the book's going to be, it's going to be better for it. But I know I do got to get it out. And the good news is it'll definitely be out well before September 11th. And, you know, what a perfect day to print the event. Also, what I'll probably do, probably print more copies. God, if I'm disciplined enough, you know what else I might be able to pull off before we get out to New York on 9/11? If I'm disciplined enough, not only will I'll definitely finish the book I'm finishing, but what I'd like to also be done with by then is to go through Number Games, you know, my last book, Number Games, and just add in some of the things that we've discovered since then to just make it even more powerful. I know that book has like 5 typos in it. Fix the typos. They're not a big deal. You know, there's like places where it should say like champions, but it says championship instead. You know, it happens when you're writing. It's funny how you can just read over something so many times and not catch it until it's right there in print in your hand. You're like, how did I miss that? But anyway, if I could get an updated version of Number Games too, because it's called 9/11 to Coronavirus, and I'll be there in New York. That book costs more to print because it's bigger. But I could print out some copies of that as well, an updated edition, and for people to come out, you know. While we were down here, for the people who came, oh, hold on, I gotta apologize to someone. Israel, if you're out there, man, I'm so sorry. I told Israel I was gonna give him a signed copy of the book last night, and I totally meant to. Israel, connect with me. I will send you a signed copy. I didn't mean to forget to do that last night. That was the one thing. It's just like trying to, you know, spread out your time and, you know, interact with all the people that are there. You know, what was nice is, you know, a lot of people were just able to connect and just have great conversations. So I wasn't like having to entertain everybody. Just people were hitting it off. But I was trying to, you know, make the rounds and make sure I talked to everybody and nobody was neglected. And, you know, if anybody feels like I didn't talk to them enough, I apologize. You know, I think I had a lot of great conversation with everybody, but. Israel, I got a book for you, and because I forgot to give you the book last night, when I'm done with the new book, I got a signed copy of that one for you too, man. So, sorry, it just came into my mind. Israel was a brilliant man, and you know, I appreciate that Israel came, because Israel came with the most constructive criticism. You know, he's down here in Oklahoma. It's the Bible Belt. It's you know, it's religious country, and I think he tried to give me a little bit of, you know, constructive criticism that I need to be nicer to religious people, and sometimes I'm too mean and the things I say are hurtful and it's not helping out anything, and it's, you know, it's just scaring people away that I don't need to scare away, and I think that's 100% correct. And I know I've said that before, but I know you guys don't watch all my videos. And again, I have said really stupid things about Christians, because like there's clips of me online saying I hate fucking Christians, you know, and it's not that I really hate fucking Christians. When I'm saying that thing, it's because I'm getting trolled by like 5 channels in the name of Jesus, and I'm talking about them. Like, I really do hate that shit. But there's plenty of good Christians. There's plenty of good people, and you know, it's just like I was saying to him. I said, you know, sometimes I think if I'm wrong about anything, you know. Maybe at the end of the day, it's possible that Christianity is the ultimate truth. We had a great conversation with guy. It's the Bible Belt, so yeah, right. The Matrix has some footage out there. It might have been captured in the conversation. We talked to these people for a while, and just like Israel, here the couple that we ran into, since it just links in with what I'm saying about Israel. I was walking around one night. It was closing time at a restaurant and a bar, and the you know, this group of Oklahomans, they were probably all around their age 55 or so, in that age range. And then they had a younger person with them, maybe one of their children in his mid-20s, we'll say. And they were out, and they were like, you know, they had a few drinks in them, but it's not like they were wasted. But one of them saw, he's like, hey, what are you doing? Are you protesting somewhere tonight? Because I'm walking around with a megaphone in the restaurant. And I said, well, you know, not more tonight, but, you know, sort of. And I'm like, you really want to know what I'm doing here? And with the megaphone, they're like, absolutely. So, you know, we told them the story, and they got intrigued, and then just sharing the knowledge with them, and they were really resonating with it. They got it. You know, I showed them how Kabbalah and the Bible and Genesis, how all of it relates, and then the code, and then they were totally getting it. And you know where I hooked them? You know, they don't like Joe Biden. So when I showed the Joe Biden, Bo Biden example, oh man, they were getting it more than ever. But, you know, at the end of the presentation, one of the women in the group, she goes, so I have to ask you a question. She's like, do you believe in the one thing that ultimately matters? And I looked at her and I said, do I believe in Jesus? And she said, yes. And I said, well, you know, I was raised Lutheran. And I said, you know, I grew up believing in Jesus, absolutely. But I said, as I got older, you know, I kind of, I don't think I used the word evolve, but I said, I became more spiritual than religious. And I questioned some of the teachings. And now I essentially, you know, because, you know, Jesus was my mentor spiritually growing up, you know, being raised Christian like so many, you know, I learned that it's important to live a life of service and justice and truth and doing things to help other people. And, you know, like, you know, if somebody's hungry and you're hungry, truly the righteous thing to do is to help out that person, especially if you're more capable than them, because, you know, it's easier for you to put food in your mouth than for them. And I mean, that's the way I've always lived my life. But I did say I got to be honest. You know, I'd be lying to you if I said I believe in the story of Jesus right now. I question it more than anything, but I recognize that it could be true, and I go back and forth with that. And I said in the work. So I said, you know, I respect the faith. Anybody could, you know, I said a nice thing to them, and they got it. And then we talked some more about the research, and then again, right before we said goodbye to each other for the night, the lady said again to me, she's like, you know, I really do hope you find Jesus, because your life will never be right without it. And, you know, I mean, you question things as a person like me who thinks in questions, and sometimes I wonder, I mean, it's possible, right? The story of Jesus, it's not possible that his name was Jesus, but it's possible that the story of Jesus is true. It's possible. It's just, you know what I think. I mean, you know all the reasons I question it and doubt it, but I accept that it's possible, it's true. And I have Christians leave the comment all the time that, you know, if I believed in Jesus, it says Dallas 97 miles. Interesting. That's coming from Oklahoma City on the 97th parallel death number. Again, 2 cities with 2 huge death rituals that shock the nation. I like to pay attention to the numbers they put on the road signs. It's like the first sign when you're south going towards Denver. The first sign for Denver says 68 miles. But yeah, you know, sometimes I do wonder. Sometimes I feel like, you know, honestly, sometimes I feel like if we were a Christian nation and we all believed in the story of Jesus and we all actually live like Jesus and live like what most of the teachings are. I mean, there's plenty of teachings in the Bible that are also like, I don't feel like that verse was originally written that way. Like, should we really pay our taxes and give Caesar what's his? I mean, that's where I say it sounds like a book written for slaves. Just like we learn a history for slaves. I just feel like everything's been bastardized and manipulated so that we're so used to being treated like serfs and peasants. But I mean, there is another part of me, just honestly, where I wish we did all share a common spirituality and people lived up to it. Yeah, that was part of the reason I left the faith too as a young person, because I saw that most people are using their faith as this like blanket, you know, to you know, pretend like they were better than they were, and then outside of Sunday school or church or confirmation, you know, they're the baddest kid in the, you know, I mean, when I was at church, I was treated like I was the baddest kid, but outside of church, I was the best behaved and most generous and most helpful, and, you know, but in church, getting treated like I was the bad one for questioning things. So I don't know. I mean, Again, the word believe, it's got the word lie right in the middle. To me, it's like, I don't want to believe in things. I want to do things that are evidence-based, truth-based. And, I mean, I guess you can't have evidence and proof for everything in the world, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. These are all the things just running through my head right now. I'm down there in Angel C, she's making me get teary-eyed. Her name's Angel, right? Her name's Angel, and she's talking about how, Zach, you got to do that curriculum thing and help inspire more children. And Zach, you got to figure out a way to create a school for all the parents who want an alternative for their children, a better way, not being in the school learning all the crazy stuff they are today. And it's just, it's funny, like, what are the odds that we didn't just have one angel there. We had two angels there. We got two angels at our gathering. How many people have that name? One of their birthdays was 4/9, the other was 9/4. I mean, it's just weird. But and again, if you guys don't know, I'm born 94 days after my dad's birthday, 49 days before my mom's birthday. I got two angels there giving me all this advice, and angels, biblical, spiritual. Angel Z's making me work hard not to cry. Talking about how we got to do it for the children, for her children, for everybody's children. And honestly, just to come back on the Jesus thing, that's part of the reason I gave up on Jesus too, to be perfectly honest. I'm not saying it's right, but I just, I used to pray so hard every night that Jesus would come and solve the problems, and Jesus never came, man. Maybe I didn't wait long enough. That's what the hardcore Christian will tell me. Didn't wait long enough, but I really do think that, again, ultimately, if you're raised in the church, if you take the core teachings to heart, it is good for you. But again, you can learn those as a Muslim, you can learn those as a Jewish person, you can learn those as a Hindu, as a Buddhist. Again, there's so many spiritualities that essentially teach the fundamental core concept of the golden rule: treating other people the way you want to be treated. And when you think about that rule, essentially that embodies everything. You want to be truthful. You want to be honest. You want there to be justice. You want there to be fairness. You want there to be caring. All the things you want for yourself is what you should do for other people. And I guess, a lot of us try to live up to it, but it's a hard thing to be perfect about. Essentially, when I'm ranting and talking shit about certain groups of people, the next sign is Dallas 91, the 13th triangular number. That's what we call Dallas, the 13th city. Dallas is 13 forwards, 41 in reverse. 41 is the 13th prime. 91 is the 13th triangular. So we got a Dallas 97 was the first one I caught. Might have missed some other signs before that, but Dallas 97, Dallas 91. I'm going to laugh as if we get closer to town if it says Dallas 49. I wonder if I missed a Dallas 103 or a Dallas... Hold on. Oh, no, that's what it is. Dallas is 49 in the most simple, 113 in reverse, and then when you use the numerology, it's 13 forwards, 41 in reverse. So I guess the numbers we can see coming up are 49 and 13, but we got a ways to go. The mile marker right after the mile marker right there says, or maybe it was the sign for the next interstate, but if there's an Interstate 13 sign, I think I just saw real quick. Something 13 right after the 91. Go figure. So, yeah. Oh, you know what else was cool that happened yesterday? I'm still a little bit weird. He seems like a really nice guy. He's been contacting me this morning. He said he'd like to come on the TFR radio show. I told him I'm not doing it tonight, but I'll be doing it next Wednesday. But he didn't want to be videotaped yesterday because he said he's gone through a lot of grief for doing his work, and he didn't necessarily want to create a presence that he was in the town again because he left the town 8 years ago because of all the harassment he's gotten. But he used to live there in Oklahoma City, and he's a filmmaker. And I believe it's Free Your Mind Films. His name is Chris Emery. And when I got to the site yesterday, April 19th, I got there, a little before 8 in the morning. Said I'd be there by 8. But he was waiting for me. And he obviously knew what I looked like because he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I think it's really cool what you're doing, trying to promote awareness about this event and that America's been lied to." What's funny, before I even get further into this, because of what happened to Oklahoma City, you guys can't see my t-shirt. It says Truth Seeker. Somebody sent it to me. Shout out to the person who sent me this shirt. Truth Seeker, whatever, established 1947. It's like a tribute to New Mexico and the UFOs. But he was saying that, from... All right, I put the sunburn in the screen again. I think we're reconnected. We got disconnected there, but... All right, we're having some connectivity issues. I don't know if it's because I'm talking about this man. Could be. Or maybe we're just in a place where the reception's bad. I'm actually driving slower because I'm going through a construction thing. I would think it'd be easier to stay connected right now. But, again, this man who did this documentary on the bombing, it made him start to think that we must be ruled over by aliens or something. Because he's like, how could you be this evil and cruel to human beings? How could you do this to somebody and lie about it and work so hard? And realize, he was there when it happened, and it was unprecedented, right? It was before 9/11. It's just like, what in the world? Who does this? And to him, from his research, it was so obvious that it was CIA, feds, and this man's done brilliant research. But yeah, it got him thinking that, God, maybe we're ruled over by aliens. And I said, could it be, what about something demonic? He said, or that, because he just doesn't understand how humans could do this to each other. And there are sociopaths in the world who all they care about is themselves. So it is possible there's just demented people. But, aliens, another word like believe, it's got lie right in it. But, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a lie. Anything's possible. We know the whole Roswell thing's by those government authority numbers. And, isn't it interesting how, evolution's 47, Christians 47, government 47, authorities 47, Vatican 47, 1947, Roswell, New Mexico, the 47th day, just all these things that, pull people for what they believe in. This person really believes in Christianity. This person really believes we're ruled over by aliens. This person really believes in evolution. This person really just believes in government. That's their religion. News, another 47, right? What is 47? But anyway, what was awesome about this guy is he showed up in the morning. He didn't seem to really know anything about my work, but he knew who I was and what I looked like, and I was going to be there. That was kind of the thing that kind of weirded me out at first. And sometimes, you guys, the numbers might make you more paranoid than you need to be. I don't like to use the word coincidence, but sometimes something can be a coincidence. But when he met me in the morning, he's like, "Oh, I've been making films for 42 years, and I recently, put a film on Netflix that we worked 42 days together on, and then they took it down, and he threw out another 42. I was like, okay, maybe this guy just likes the number 42 a lot, and so he says it a lot. But man, I am standing next to this Masonic temple where inside the building there's a statue that's called Bloodline that has 42 people. But anyway, I think it was a coincidence because he was a really nice guy. He said, I want to come back later today and take your group on a tour, however many people you have coming out today. I want to walk them around the city. I want to show them, the sites where Timothy McVeigh supposedly made the phone call from in the phone booth. The details of what supposedly happened to these buildings. Now, it doesn't make any sense. And the guy just had so much research and information because he spent 8 years making a film. And that's what it takes to make something awesome. My first book, it took me, well, I mean, in a way it took longer than that, but at least 5 years to write. It was 5 years of work to put out my first book, and of course it's big. And then, my second book came out, a little more than 2 years later, and really it's just part of the ongoing study. But the second book's, well, some people really think the first book's the best because it's got so much in it. But I mean, both of them are very good books in my opinion, but we're always trying to learn more and make it better. But again, I mean, it takes a lot of hard effort and work to make something great. And so he spent 8 years compiling all this data and research. His documentary that was originally about 2 hours long, and consider a 2, I mean, you can read a big old book, right? And you can condense that into a 2-hour film. So a 2-hour film's like a bigger book. But anyway, he was very patient. He hung around for hours and gave multiple different, because we had a lot of people. He gave multiple people the same tour, the same run around, came back around, stood around all day. And the only part of me that was scratching my head is it's like, how does he know who I am and like that I'm going to be here, but he doesn't know anything about my work or research? I couldn't figure that part out. And again, I didn't really ask him on it, but I assume, he knows people. Maybe somebody he knows follows me and said, hey, you should go out there and find this Zach Hubbard. He's going to be out there by 8 a.m. And he was there waiting for me, so. He approached me right away. And what he said is, what's cool is he said he'd like to make another film. He said he would love to make a film, taking his knowledge and then building on it with what I'm doing, So we got Craig making a film for us. Shout out to Craig. Thank you for the gas money. I appreciate that very much. Definitely adding on to the gas bill today because I'm driving 3 hours the wrong direction. So that's 6 hours round trip the wrong direction on top of the other 30 hours we got after that. But thank you. I appreciate it very much. Of course, you know what? I don't think I've even said thank you to Rich yet and his crew, Frank and Rob. They all came down together. Shout out to Frank, Rob, and Rich. And you guys, Rich right now, you guys know Rich. Me and Rich, we've had a falling out a few times, but we both mean well. We're guys who really care about the world, but we have the emotional maturity of elementary school children. But man, Rich, take care of yourself, man. Rich is down there on a dialysis machine, with no kidneys, pounding pavement on his megaphone. I love he got on his megaphone and was just yelling at traffic. He's like, look at them spraying the sky. He said, you see how blue your sky is? He goes, give it a few hours, it'll be all clouds and overcast. And we've all seen it, man. That's exactly what it was. Might have woken up a few people that day who didn't notice yet. I don't know how people don't notice. But Rich is out there working his ass off, not in the best of health. And by the way, I told him I was going to give him money for gas, and if you guys need the money for gas, I'm sorry. I will definitely send it for you. I was going to hang around Oklahoma City a little bit longer today, but I ended up going to Dallas, so Rich, Frank, I think Frank's driving, so Frank probably needs the gas money. Hit me up. I got you guys. I don't know if you got a PayPal, I'll swing it to you. But, yeah, I want to make sure you guys get that gas money. I feel bad about that. Hook some people up with some gas money. I appreciate people taking the time for things are expensive, right? Some people needed a little boost, and you guys have helped me out. So I some of the resources that came to me, I just wanted to give them to other people too. So shout out to Frank, Rob, and Rich. They all came together. That's part of the reason I couldn't sleep too, man, because there's just so many people to hang out with and spend time with. There's like, when they got into town, it was like close to midnight. I was ready to pass out. Rich was like, come on, man, you got to come down and smoke a J with us, man. Come down here. And I was like, oh my God, I just want to go to bed. But anyway, we ended up hotboxing the car for a couple hours. Who needs to sleep? By the way, you guys, if we ever meet up again in public, don't let me smoke any weed, man. When I smoke weed, the problem is I just want to talk forever. And it's just, it's a bad habit. So it's helpful when I'm by myself making videos on YouTube. It's helpful then, to help me carry the tune for a few hours. But in a social gathering, I don't want to be talking too much, and I'm good about that, except for when I'm high. So there was a good amount of green getting passed around. A lot of people in our community smoke weed, and rightfully so. I mean, for all you guys who don't like the green, it really does. It helps. You just more often than not, people who smoke a little green, they see things a little bit more clearly. They have a little more, they're thinking about things more. I feel like, my man Truth Virus, who I wish he could have been here, he thinks weed's the third eye cleaner. So, I don't know, maybe it is. But, definitely a lot of people down there were passing around the green. And a few times I was like, all right, I don't want to pass up the opportunity. But anyway, it was mostly a flawless trip. Seeker, and another man I got to say thank you to, Chris from Illinois. Poor guy it was funny, he had a Cleveland Indians hat, right? He's from Illinois, but I guess he's an Indians fan. But he had a Cleveland Indians hat. And the Cleveland Indians logo, the man with the burnt red face. Oh my God, poor Chris. He was so burnt red, man. He looked as red as the mascot on his hat. And, thanks for coming out, Chris, and enduring the punishment. The sun's more intense down here for us who are up further north. The sun's a lot more intense. As you go further south, the sun's more intense. And, Tangles. But, Chris was awesome, man. He came all the way down from Illinois. He's got a mom he's got to take care of. She's got Parkinson's. It was hard for him to leave for a few days because he likes to be there each day for his mother, taking care of his mom. And I hope he had safe travel back. He actually left in the middle of the night last night. He was throwing some strikes. He's got the nice bowling. I suck at bowling, you guys. If the video's out there of me at bowling, oh my God, the trolls have a whole new archive to work with. Gutterball City. I hadn't bowled in so long, and I always sucked at bowling. It's like, I don't know. I never figured out. I figured out last night if I just put 2 fingers in the holes, I can throw it right down the lane. With 3 fingers in, it was just like I always want to go in the gutter. But anyway, Chris knows how to bowl, and. Hold on, somehow beat exploded here. What's this limit? But yeah, he had to take some days away from his mother to come out with the Truth Seekers, and he did, and I mean, it's just, for all the people who came down, they had to take time out of their own life. They had to stop their days of work. They had to stop taking care of the people they take care of. People had to make sacrifices to be down there. So I'm grateful for everyone who made the trip. And, I know that I had so many people that, in Oklahoma City doing the work. A lot of people follow you. They never post anything in the comment section. They don't call into the shows. They're just always there listening, taking it in. And you find out those people are out there when you do the stream. And I'm trying to see if that was a big snake in the road or if that was just like a piece of debris. But yeah, I mean, it was just cool. And, you get to meet the faces, the real people that are out there that appreciate the work. And, like I was saying, Corey earlier, man. Corey, just super cool dude. He came out and pounded pavement a lot of days, took time off work. And, I don't want to put all Corey's stuff out there, but his story just makes me sad. He's a great man, very, very friendly man, very humble person, very kind, you could just feel it the way he talks. Funny, and sorry guys, I'm tired, so I guess I'm even more emotional. But the reason I started crying, man, I was thinking about his story. The man just got out of prison. He's been in prison for 17 years. He got up after 17 years, and all he did was he had a gun on him that wasn't legally registered. I mean, big fucking deal, man. 17 years for that. And again, I mean, the reason people get guns on the street is because they're way cheaper. So if you need a protection device and you don't have a lot of money, guns on the street are cheap. If you didn't, I mean, I don't want to put myself in a cage, but, you know, there was a time. By the way, feds, I don't have it anymore, just to be perfectly clear. But, you know, I used to have an unregistered weapon. I could have went in a cage, you know, for that long. And the reason I had an unregistered weapon is because, you know, just in case, you know. I had some people causing some problems in my life. If I had to retaliate, I didn't want nothing coming back on me. But it's just a joke, man. I mean, a good person, just 17 years in a cage. Yeah, and I mean, those were the things before I knew about Gematria. Just how, again, for you guys who don't know, when I was younger, before 9/11 and all that, my plan was I was going to go to school, I was going to become a lawyer, and I was going to represent people like Corey. You know, that's what I wanted to do. Help out all the people in the cage that don't belong there. And I mean, there's just so many reasons that this world needs to be fixed. I mean, it just gets worse by the day. But really, you think about it, I mean, even though things are getting a lot worse right now, they've been really bad for a long time. But yeah, I mean, the good side of the story is, you know, even though a huge chunk of that man's life was taken away on some BS, you know, he hasn't lost anything that matters. He's still got a great spirit. He's a very friendly guy. He's a funny guy. He's got a great personality. You know, so it's not like this. It's not like prison time broke him. It's just, I mean, think about it, man. You lose 17 years of your prime of your life in a cage. And how many people got the same story? You know, how many people, you know, and Corey, of course, he's a darker complected guy. He kept sitting in the shade. He's like, I don't need to be any darker than I already am, but sorry guys, I'm trying to put it together, but man, I'm telling you, I just keep thinking about Corey, man. I mean, he's just so full of love, man. We gave each other a nice big hug. People probably thought we were gay in the parking lot the way we were hugging each other, man, but you know, it was just, out of all this ugliness in the world, you know, you had a group of people come together and made something beautiful, and I guess that's the silver lining, man. You know, it's like, dark stuff's happening, but the good people are rising up and coming together and making something ugly into something beautiful. So, anyway, shout out to Corey, shout out to all the truth seekers. And let me see, how we doing? We're getting there. We're about an hour away, I think, so see if I can get my emotional state right. But yeah, it was hard to say goodbye to Corey last night, man. There were a lot of people who were really touched, you guys. I mean, like, it was surreal because, I mean, you know, normally in this world, from talking about the stuff you talk about, you get demonized and hated on, and you feel bad and low, and you feel like an outcast. And for all of us who were there, it wasn't like that. You know, it was the exact opposite. It's like, why can't it always be this way? And again, a big part of the reason I'm crying, I just keep thinking, man, this is a great man, and 17 years of his life were stolen. But he still, it didn't break him. And that's the story. I mean, even though we're in hard times and we're trying to, I mean, the powers that shouldn't be are trying to break us. It's just like, we can't let them break us. We got to stay strong. We got to stay good. And, you know, I've had my mom in my ear a lot in this trip because she didn't like my interaction at the museum with the 3 guards. She thought I should have played it more cool and, you know, used more professional language and just made them look bad for what they did. I didn't really need to talk shit. And I mean, there's a point to it, but at the same time, I meant the things that I said to those people. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I don't know. All things good and bad, but I did get to talk to all of them later. And, you know, the guy I was calling pimples, I apologized to him even yesterday. I said, you know, I could have been nicer about what I said, but honestly, I said, you shouldn't harass people that only mean well. And all I wanted to do was come here and spread real information about something that somebody needs to know about. But he accepted the apology, and, you know, I mean, hurting his feelings, you know, making fun of the way he looked. I mean, he was talking shit and being a dickhead, so he kind of had it coming. But, I mean, me making fun of his appearance, it's probably not helping him get on the path. I did give him real information, though, that could help him out, but I definitely didn't do it in a nice way. But, you know, had I been nicer to him, probably might have been more effective at persuading him to see things the way I wanted him to see things. So, but yeah, I mean, I did get to talk to all those guards after the confrontation, and the dude with the little chin strap. I mean, you know, he acknowledged that what I was sharing was very interesting, and if it was up to him, he'd let me in the museum. And he explained that, you know, he's just trying to do the best he can. This is the best job he's ever had. It pays better than any other job he ever had. And, you know, he's just trying to do his best in the world. And again, a lot of people say that, but I said to him, I said, you know, I said, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, ultimately, if at the end of the day for your job, if you have to keep people off the grounds who are trying to bring, like, real truth and justice for the people who were killed here, I said, I mean, you might honestly be, like, protecting evil. So you should think about that. And when I said that, he goes, well, I don't see it that way. And I said, so what? So you just said you think I might have a point and it's very interesting, but if I have a point and it's very interesting, that means that what they're saying here could be a lie, and essentially lies are, but he's like, well, I mean, the official be true too. And I mean, see, he's doing that to justify his job. I mean, it's how people's minds work. They want to justify the behavior. They want to justify the wrongdoing. So, and I guess I didn't get to talk to Pat really, but I saw Pat a few times. Say, hey, what's up, Pat? Check out the work, Pat. He had the best line though when he was pushing me off the campus. Getting on my nerves. You're talking too much. So anyway, feel like Ethan Hawke in Training Day. Isn't that what he said? He said, all you got in this world are your laughs and your cries. Gotta get my emotional sadness out of me. Saying goodbye to the good people, and, you know, just hearing some of the stories, man. I mean, Corey represents millions in this nation. It's sad to think about. Millions of people locked in cages who are good people, who violated some man's law. It's like, who really gives a shit about? Like, does it really matter? Is it really that big of a deal if you have an unregistered weapon? I think the thing that matters. And then somebody was like, yeah, it is, because then you can murder somebody and get away with it. It's like, well, okay. Murdering people is the bad part. If you're murdering people, that's bad, you know. Still not sure putting people in a cage. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tough conversation, but anyway. Nobody should lose nearly 20 years of their life because they had an unregistered weapon. I mean, it's just stupid. And so many charges are. I mean, there's people sitting in prison longer than that because they had a half ounce of weed. Oh, wow, a half ounce of weed, 50 years in prison. I mean, it's just like, who, like, how could you ever, like, what kind of government could ever come up with such a justification for having a little bit of a plant that grows to pretty much ruin your whole life and put you in a cage? I mean, it shows you that you have a nation that wants to enslave people and exploit them. Of course, most people in prison are used for labor and paid pennies on the dollar to work for these mega corporations. Even the state. I mean, a common job in prisons is making license plates. You know, this is a real form of slavery. And so, like somebody else pointed out, they also said it's also a form of population control. You're putting all these adults in cages so they can't, I mean, in their good years of their life, they're not having any children. It is another form of population control. But yeah, I mean, again, True Seeker, there's a million reasons for people to stand up and say enough's enough. It's been bad for a long time. We've been silent about a lot of evil things in this world for a long time. The unjust wars, the unjust wars are always targeting other dark nations. You know, a point that I don't make enough, that I need to start making all the time, especially when I'm talking about the 42 code and the racism, in light of the Catholic Church and Jesuits clearly being behind all this, think about it. There's never been a dark complected pope. There's never been a dark pope. Never. You know, nobody of darker skin has ever been the pope. And there's been a lot of popes. 266 as we speak. And again, it's them who clearly came up with the 42 code. And again, for all the Christians out there who say there's no way Jesus was black, again, I don't know why you guys say that. There's no way. I mean, it could have been mixed. Could have been some darker complexion. I mean, the physical descriptions that's left, the 42 generations to Jesus, the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus behind everything, the rituals with so many young black men were always showing their code in the same numbers over and over, the numbers that connect to Jesus, the 42s. I mean, you know. I mean, really think about it in your lifetime. There's been a lot of shocking deaths. People that we know, people of all colors die in shocking ways from the world of celebrity. But really start to think about the ones that, you know, you just remember the most coverage of. You know, the most coverage of in the news, the most touched it was. I mean, for people who grew up in my era, it was Tupac, right? Tupac's death just was like, for a lot of people, was just, you know, devastating. And, you know, Michael Jackson dies prematurely. You know, in our lifetime, these are two of the biggest celebrity deaths, people way before their time. In recent years, the thing that woke up a lot of people, Kobe Bryant, dead at 41, traveling from Catholic Mass, dead on the Pope's 41st day of his age, or Kobe Bryant's 41, LA's 41. I mean, you got your Princess Diana stories of the world. Of course, she's not black. White woman, royal family, but again, it's that royal family, which is another fascination of people. But I mean, and again, the Tupac one, just the album they put out after his death, Machiavelli, him on the cross. Like, what day was he shot? September 7th, 9/7 like death, or 7/9 like Society of Jesus. Remember, Society of Jesus 79 forwards, Society of Jesus 56 forwards. 79 in reverse. Tupac, he gets shot on the day it can be written 7/9, and then the album comes out on the day leaving 56 days left in the year. Him on the cross. 42 generations of Jesus. Revelation 1:14, the hair like wool. I know a lot of people say, well, that's just describing the color of the whiteness, but again, the skin is also described as being dark. Again, I mean, is it possible? Again, I got a theory. I got a theory that, you know, we all carry energy. But, I mean, look at our society, you guys. Look, I mean, growing up, if you're my age, approaching 40, if you're approaching age 40, I mean, you could be older than me too, but I mean, just people around my age group. I'm almost 40. So many of the people that were made to be the idols in our society, so many of them, the people that are like worshipped by other people, so many of them are young black men, right? Athletes, entertainers, Mike Tyson, of course, Michael Jackson, you know. We might be reconnected. But yeah, again, I mean, just go off in the celebrity. I mean, you just think about the biggest celebrities in the world right now, the entertainers. So many of them are, I mean, for so many people, and what do you, we're having some connectivity issues right now. We keep disconnecting, but I think we're back. And the good news is I'm getting closer to Dallas, that's for sure. It says the stream's been going for 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I probably got, you know, another 15 minutes or so, and I will be in Dallas. I haven't seen a road sign for a minute for a distance, but we're getting there. So again, if you want to join us today in Dallas, if you could make it out there, I should be there well before 3, close to 2:30, I imagine. And again, heading for Dealey Plaza. Seems like the right place to go. Make a few more observations, try to see that Trident Rambo's been talking about in real time. Try to reconnect with a number of the truth seekers who came out from Dallas. Said they'd like to rejoin with us today. And yeah, so what else can I talk about? What else happened on this trip? The Primus thing was interesting. I did engage with the Primus fans. None of them wanted to be on camera. None of them really had anything that interesting to say, so I decided to not put out any video on that. But again, the funny thing just about showing up in town at the same time as Primus is what I learned is that was the first concert in their brand new tour, and the name of their brand new tour equals 191 and 65, just like Oklahoma City is 191 and 65. And then making matters even more interesting, they came out in 1984, that infamous year, Primus. And Anthony Fauci became the director at NIH in 1984. And again, in their song, in Conspiranoia, they are saying that, you know, people who are questioning Anthony Fauci and essentially not getting vaccinated are ending up in the hospital because they're listening to misinformation online. And, you know, essentially the song's making the point, like, you're not trusting the expert Anthony Fauci, and you're trusting these people online who think the Earth's flat. And that's the conspiranoia, and that's the problem with society. And so I wanted to talk to the fans to see about how they feel about that message. And, you know, they're Primus fans, so a lot of them seem to agree with it. Kind of start out with some questions, and then I shared with some information. And I did get at least one of them to subscribe and listening, and I had a good conversation. But it's funny, one of the guys that was there, he was from Portland like I am. Originally he's from Portland, now he lives down there. But he was saying that, yeah, he still ultimately agrees with the message, because he thinks there is too much misinformation online and too many conspiracy theories. And again, it's let me see, what's this say? Dallas Fort Worth Junction, 2 miles. So I gotta pay attention here. I'm sure one of them says to Dallas. Oh, it says, my navigation popped up. But I mean, you're out to show that they're fans of the band, so of course they're gonna take the band's side. But some of them got it and thought, like, yeah, maybe that message isn't exactly right. Maybe there's more that I need to look into. That was also part of the reason that I didn't upload those conversations, because the things I was saying that for them to look into, those are the things that seem to be getting every video pulled down. And I really do hate to censor myself, but I'm in a kind of a pickle right now, because I don't know if I'm able to make another YouTube channel. So I think I'm gonna have to use Sweet Lady's face to make another YouTube channel, and I don't really want to do that, because the social credit scoring thing is coming, you guys. And I know this whole new level of face recognition so the thing is, like, I could create a YouTube channel and not do that, but I'd never be able to live stream on it, and I wouldn't be able to make a video past 15 minutes long. You guys might remember when I first started making YouTube videos, I didn't know how to do the extra setting. I used to just, if I had an hour's worth of content, I had to upload it in 4 parts. But then I finally figured out there was a way to enhance your YouTube so you could do longer stuff. But yeah, so far I haven't been able to create GematriaEffectNews 26 with my own face. Thank you again for the generosity. See the donation, thank you. The gas money is appreciated. Ooh, this is a big old flag right here. We're coming up on a big, what does this say? A Poggy Stadium. It's a Texas flag, but it's all green. UNT 308. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, it's football country. It's probably where the high school games are played at. We're getting close to the nation. Or the, not the definition, the destination. Fort Worth. Mean Green. That must be a college, actually. Let's see what Texas school's the Mean Green. I forget. Mean Green. But yeah, again, first time to Dallas. Shout out to Jeremy White. I believe this is his city. I don't know if he's in town right now. I know he's got a cousin. He's been traveling a little bit, doing some work. But Jeremy, if you're out there, man, you should stop by today. Love to see Jeremy White. The nicest, most soft-spoken, polite, intelligent man you'll ever meet. So, right here next to the lifted Ford pickup. I want him to run over me like he's a monster truck. Man, that's the other thing too. When I was driving through lots of Texas and Oklahoma coming in last week, they have so many highways that are just one lane each way that are 80 miles per hour, and everybody is hauling ass in just big old trucks. And every time they whiz by, you're like, all right, don't have a blowout. Don't come swerving at me, man. Be a fly on the windshield. But yeah, West Coast speed limits are a lot slower than the middle of the country because it's flatter. It's just 80 miles per hour. That speed limit doesn't exist in the West Coast, but it's everywhere out here in the center of the country. I want to say at one point there was an 85 mile per hour limit. I forget where that was. Idaho, maybe. Yeah, I'm getting close. I might shut down the stream since I'm almost there, and I'm like a half hour away, maybe a little more than a half hour. Just make sure I don't miss any turns here, because we're getting in, and I just realized, like, I think different routes are coming up. I'll go a little bit longer. I just don't want to make sure I miss my exit and add on to the destination time. I want to make sure I maximize my time here. I told people I wanted to be out here by 1 p.m., but I'm definitely, it's going to be closer to 2:30, so. It's hard to say goodbye to this morning. Had to talk to a few more people before I hit the road. And then sweet lady, she looked up and saw there was a Burmese store in Oklahoma City. It's funny, I didn't see a single Asian person while I was here, but somehow, some way, they got a Burmese store. And I got some of our Lepeto. You guys have never had Lepeto before. Usually comes in a box looking like this. It says fried bean snack on there, but what it is it's fermented tea leaves. Fermented tea leaves. So it's better to eat this for like lunch because it could keep you up at night. But it's a package of fermented tea leaves and then a package of dried beans. And the way you eat it is you cut up cabbage and, you know, cilantro and really whatever else you want to put in it, onions, tomatoes. But it's essentially a Burmese salad. And, you know, sweet lady, her way that she likes to do it is, you know, a little rice, Lepeto, and a fried egg. That's her favorite. But had to stock up on the Lepeto because the one thing about where we live, I normally get it in Portland. But Seattle has it, Portland has it. You know, where we live in the middle of the state, nobody has any Lepeto. So she looked up and found out that it was for sale in Oklahoma City. So she's like, Zach, get this Lepeto before you come back today. So sorry for the people in Dallas. It's also part of the reason I'm not going to be there at 1, but I'm not running too late. So got to keep sweet lady happy. And, I think we're still on the right path here. Roads are definitely getting a lot busier as we approach Dallas. Oh, this is a major city. By the way, also, you guys, when I get back home and I can do a stream on the computer, I'll go back because I know people were giving some super chats yesterday, and when I've been on the road, I've been missing the super chats. But I'll get all the thank yous out for the super chats as soon as I get back. So I do appreciate the support. But yeah, just since I'm tired, you guys, and it's getting trafficy and I got road changes, I think it's probably smarter if I turn off the stream and just focus on the last part of the drive. I'll probably fire up a live stream when we get to Dallas. I do have some poster board and markers, so you know, there's so much to educate about with the JFK assassination, and I don't know, I gotta see what the scene looks like. I haven't been there before, so maybe do a little groundwork. Maybe I'll just stream while I walk around. Yeah, I'll absolutely do that, you guys. While I'm walking around there, I'll live stream that. Maybe you're like me, you've never been to Dallas, you've never been to Dealey Plaza, and we'll just see what we find in real time like we did in Oklahoma City. I mean, I still, you got, my mind's still blowing that on the back side of the memorial is the Masonic Temple. It's just, and by the way, that Masonic Temple was established there in 1922, right? 1922, master builder number 22, the Masons, the builders. But that was 73 years before 95, right? And we know what 73 is. Sacrifice 73, ritual sacrifice 73. The word Mason also has Gematria 73. And it is creepy to think that, you know, that the things that we're living out, they are planned many years in advance. They're planned many years in advance. And we know what 95 is too. I don't think I said it, but of course, you know, the Jesuits created to counter the 95 Theses, recognized by Rome on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Check. Just like Seattle here where we're coming through. Express lanes closed, got to merge over from the left. funny how just like uniform it is across the nation. Just the roads, same type of setups, all the same corporate box stores. Gas, I mean, a few brands change here and there, but they're probably all at the end of the day owned by the same parent companies. But yeah, I mean, the nation is just so uniform, right? Everyone's shopping at the same stores, eating at the same restaurants, watching the same television programming, largely listening to the same music, watching the same movies, and having the same societal responses to things, you know? Want to talk about something that's important? Not really. Do you want to question something that might be important that we should be questioning? Not really. That's conspiracy theory. You know, want to talk about Will Smith's slap? Of course I do. Yeah, that's fun. Let's talk about Will Smith's slap. How's he going to do that, man? What's wrong with Will Smith? It's just like, God, my God, man. But you see why people are so uniform. I mean, we go to slave school, right? 13 years of slave school. We're all learning the same lessons. And the main lesson at the end of the day is follow instructions, comply with authority, step out of line, you'll end up in timeout. Get out of school and you step out of line, you know, you'll end up in a cage, you know. But yeah, I mean, you just driving across the nation, it is a reminder of why things are the way they are. Just everything is so same. Everything is just the same. And what else is sad is in the last 2 years, you know, it's become even more and more the same, because before some of these, that's what I noticed on a lot of blue signs, you know, like it'll say next stop, lodging, gas, restaurants. I've noticed on the road that you can tell that a lot of things that were there before were removed, like for the food, they're not there anymore. And like on every blue sign, there's a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Wendy's, right? But, you know, how many mom and pop shops that used to be on the blue sign are now why it's a blank space there, you know what I mean? How many mom and pop shops didn't survive the pandemic while all the fast food restaurants with their drive-through window that was perfect for the pandemic survived? And that's the crazy thing to think about too, is just like, I mean, they know what their infrastructure is and their strategy can be. They're like, yeah, we can put a lot of restaurants out of business. We got the infrastructure of the fast food. You know, you can't go in, but we already got the drive-through. Most restaurants don't have the drive-through. And again, I mean, it's just like the Great Depression, right? They say that only certain companies survived, but wish I was living in the Great Depression to see exactly how it was executed. Something tells me that was another contrived disaster to allow certain businesses to get bigger and eat up all the competition. As time's gone on, you know, big fish is eating small fish more and more. Now we got our big whales out here. Big whales making the rules, making the policy. It's crazy, man. What are the odds of that? For people in Dallas don't know it's true. What are the odds of that? That is so weird, man. I couldn't see it when I was driving in, but the freeway, like, wall sound barrier, what's the wall's decorated with is a big fish and then, like, a smaller fish. Just like, what in the world? Synchronicity, man. I guess that was the right analogy. It's funny. Life is funny, man. There was a lot of synchronicities that people were sharing their stories of this week. And that's the cool thing, too, just all the synchronicities. I read that book, The Celestine Prophecy, when I was a lot younger. And it said that's the way God talks to us, through synchronicity. God's showing us if we're doing the right thing, if we're doing the wrong thing, those seemingly impossible synchronicities. You know. Let's see. I think we got some toll lane here. I don't want to be in that. Make sure I'm not getting some tolls from Texas. Gas is enough. I don't need tolls too. Isn't it just crazy how many fees we got, you guys? It's just like, government just never have enough fees. You already pay all this money for them to have these roads, and then they got to put a toll on there, too, to tax you again. Where is all the money really going? These big Texas flags here. We got a big Texas flag, red, white, and blue next to a big American flag. Everything's big in Texas. It's warming up a little bit. I noticed I'm starting to feel warmer. All right, Truth Seeker. I think I will wrap up the stream here because I'm getting close. I want to make sure I'm not missing any signs. And like I said, there's more traffic. I'm a little tired. Last thing I need is a car accident. So yeah, spend at least a few hours there. I do got to start heading back home, and again, this took me 3 hours the wrong direction, so I do got to get back. Sweet lady's graduation is coming right up, and oh, Sarah, you are just too. I appreciate you. Thank you so much again. Always super generous. You're like, yeah, right, the Matrix. That man just has never-ending generosity. I think he's doing very well in life, so he likes to give back. But, yeah, again, for everybody who came out, thank you so much. Sorry if I forgot to mention your name. There were a lot of people's names I didn't mention, but, again, all your faces are stored in my head. And I really do look forward to the next gathering. I'm sure it'll be even bigger than this one. And we just got to keep going and keep building our momentum until we got that huge, massive spark. Model what it can look like, how positive it can be, what could come out of it, you know. So, and again, you know, just from all the people coming up from Dallas, it inspired me to drive down here today. One last stand with the Truth Seekers in Dallas. All the good people down here. And yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna shut it down, Truth Seeker. I'll see you soon. Stand by. I know a lot of you aren't getting notifications, so just be sure to check in once I park and get to the site. Look for the stream. So, and then that'll make it easier for people to follow me. Alrighty. Well, now right as I was to shut off, a part of me is debating. I'm like, should I just keep it going? I just don't want to miss my turn or get in an accident, honestly. But I guess if I stay the stream, then people will know when I'm absolutely here. For people who know the area, I'm past exit 447A right now. It looks like it's the airport. See the big airport sign. President George Bush Turnpike. We don't have that at home. Sam Rayburn Tollway. The Tollway. I have to look more into that Sam Rayburn. That's what they got. Isn't it sad that a guy like President George Bush has anything named after him? I mean, that's what I hate. Just all these criminals that have all these roads named after him. Rockefeller streets in every city. It's like you want to have your name go down in the history books on the streets of America, you better do some pretty evil shit. So. Exit 445, President George Bush Turnpike. Did I tell you guys that when you go through Colorado, when you go through Denver, in Denver, Yale Road is exit 202, like Skull and Bones is 202? I guess I'll just stay focused here and do my best not to miss any turns. Maybe I feel like the minute I turn off the stream, I'm going to see something I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could have documented that. Plus, I guess if I keep the stream on until I get here, then you'll know when I'm here. So my gas thing says I got 40 miles left till the next refill. Woo, the gas bill, man. It's crazy how much the gas bills are these days. I'm amazed at how many people are still driving these big ass trucks. I know that's not cheap. We got disconnected there, but I think we're back on. Watch out for the 18-wheelers. It's funny living in a small town like I have for the last 4 years. It's just like when you go in cities, it just seems... I mean, when you live in the city, you're just used to it, but then you get used to living in a small town. You come back in the cities, just all the overpasses, interstate, cars everywhere. It's all pretty amazing. I mean, the world we live in is amazing, isn't it? Just all the engineering, technology, the fact that people even figured out how to build roads this big, this good, this long. Alex said the Romans were better, you know, their roads lasted longer than ours do now because we don't use the right materials. That could be true. It could be all part of the planned obsolescence, though, so they have a reason to keep, you know, charging us taxes. A lot of people, when you say, oh, you better pay your taxes, otherwise we wouldn't have these roads. Sometimes I wish we didn't have these roads. Might make us have to live in our own community, grow some food. It would actually be good for us. Instead of being dependent on trucks, hauling everything in from God knows where, Mexico. Speaking of Mexico, though, that is the one reason to go down there. You can grow food year-round. That's the other beautiful thing about Mexico. You don't have to really worry about freezing to death in the winter. Got to worry about, drought. Drought could screw it up, though, right? I guess that's the thing that could ruin the food production in Mexico if drought. But yeah, it's definitely a better place to grow food than the northern hemisphere. So, the thing up here says we got an accident. Right, 2 right lanes closed, so hopefully we don't have too much of a traffic delay. So 2 miles ahead, 2 right lanes closed, so we'll see. That can't be too great for traffic because we're only on a 3-lane highway right now. Are we still connected? I think we're still connected. Connection's been cutting in and out. I have to hit this reconnect button when it disconnects, but I think we're connected right now. Oh, I think I can finally see the skyline of Dallas. It's a hazy day. I see the I don't know if they're skyscrapers like New York, but I see the tall buildings, the little, they look like gray toys from here, but I see them. Some more huge flags, Texas, America. It's funny, there's nothing like that in Washington State. You'll see big American flags in Washington State in some places, but just in the last 10, 15 miles of driving, I've seen more in Texas than there are in the whole state of Washington. But there's no big Washington flags anywhere. There's big Texas flags everywhere. The Lone Star State. By the way, did I not say shout out to Craig the cameraman? I think I did. But 18-wheeler's getting swervy on me here. If I didn't say shout out to Craig the cameraman, of course, you know, Craig came out. His mom's a long-time supporter of the work. Son's got video editing skills. Again, he's going to make us a film, and it's going to come in the clutch because he captured a lot of the best moments yesterday that were censored down the YouTube drain. He said give him 3 weeks to a month to finish the film, so hopefully he can finish it on that time. Hopefully he's better with timelines than I am. You know, if I say 3 weeks to a month, it could turn into 4 months. But Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, 1 mile. Harry Hines Boulevard. It's funny, you gotta look up all these people, find out who they were to the state, city history. It's funny how the Bush family, they're so associated with Texas, but really they're a Connecticut family, Skull and Bones family. Big billboard says, "Oh wow, Templar, gear, guns, ammo." Must be a big gun brand down here. Templar, gear, guns, ammo. How about that? Yeah, you don't see any billboards like that in Washington State. Probably not even allowed. Probably breaks some state law. They don't want you to have guns in Washington State. For the Texas people, wait for me to get to the spot, passing Royal Lane, if you know that. So we're getting there, Royal Lane. Also, by the way, you guys, possibility that I will be on the road shortly again. I got to look into it. There's supposed to be some big gathering at, you know, Silicon Valley where the big tech companies are to protest the censorship. And from what I heard, it's either the date May 7th or May 8th. Seems like May 8th would be more. But if it is on 5/8, that could be a sign that it's a controlled opposition event, and maybe they really are just trying to test out their new surveillance and database. But the way I see it is, even if that is like the real purpose of that event, to put people in a database, I figure I'm already in it. And honestly, you're following my work. Sadly, you know, at the age we're in, you might very well already be in it too. And again, I mean, it's just like, it's that mentality is, you know, even though we know they're doing this to us, we can't live in fear about these things. I mean, it is annoying. The sign here says for Waco. That would have been another fitting place to go to. Austin would be another fitting place to go to, wouldn't it? Go hunt for Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. But, yeah, I mean, even if that is what they're doing, it's just like, we got to continue to push forward, you know? We will not be deterred. God, I wish there was a way we could shut off the censorship button, though, man. It just makes me so sick what they're doing, deleting content. It's just so sickening. I mean, it really was a true act of evil to delete yesterday's videos. There was nothing no good reason, I should say, from any decent person for those videos to be deleted. And again, I know why they deleted the video. The only reason those videos were deleted is because it modeled the power of what could happen when people come together to talk about things that matter and engage with the community. And also, I think we showed how to handle a police mob and infringements on our civil. I mean, if you missed the stream yesterday, when we got to the memorial, the police came out right away. They were prepared for us. They said none of us are on the grounds. None of us are allowed in the church. We weren't allowed to go in the church where the memorial service is. And I even asked. Shout out to Mr. Futures. Thanks, Mr. Futures. You didn't have to do that, man. You've already been supporting the work forever, but I appreciate it. You guys, make sure you're supporting Mr. Futures. He's doing great work for the community, helping people earn that lunch money. And what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Well, since I lost my train of thought, again, just make sure you're supporting the other people. I hit a pothole. Anyway, make sure you are supporting the other people in the community. You know, there's a lot of people doing the good work. It's free to subscribe to a channel. You really like their work, you know. A lot of people, they don't charge much for a little support a month per Patreon. People like Kayla, she doesn't have a Patreon, but in the link of a video, you know, she has a link where you can donate through PayPal. And you know, Kayla, you know, she was coming out here. She got the check engine light coming on, so you know, hopefully she doesn't have some auto repair. I think that might be also true from Frank, who drove out from Illinois. And again, Frank hit me up. I said I got gas money for you guys, so let's see. It says 6 or 7 minutes to Woodall Rogers. I don't even know what that means because I'm not from here, but it must be a little suburb outside of Dallas. And I don't know what just happened to this car, why they decided to start driving 30 miles per hour here. What in the world? What in the world? This person must be from the Pacific Northwest. Oh my God. Slowed down to below 30. What's going on? Okay. Here at exit 432A, you got your options at McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, and Sonic. Found out Sonic's headquartered out of Oklahoma City. But yeah, no mom and pops. I mean, you just see way less like local independent restaurants on the blue signs these days. It's nothing but corporate brands. I mean, I think it's been becoming more and more that way as time's gone on. But I just know since the pandemic, you don't see like, just you can always tell on the sign. It's like, okay, that must be some mom and pop local company. Just not seeing many of those on the blue signs. So many businesses closed out in the pandemic. All part of our very real history. Bunch of crosses right here. Reminder for all you young people, man, better to go slow. It must have been a bad accident there. I know to get Dallas, gas is a little bit more expensive than Oklahoma City. I'm going to have to get some gas soon since I got 29 miles left. But yeah, gas looks like it's around $3.80 in Dallas. It was around $3.60 in Oklahoma City. Not bad. It was $5 where I started out. So $3.60, $3.80, a lot better than $5. But God, doesn't it still sound ridiculous? It's like, how'd we get up to so fast to this gas price? Oh, whoa! Thank you, Ginny. I just noticed Ginny, very generous. That's awesome. Thank you. I'll definitely cover the next fill up. I appreciate that. Average fill up was around $50 on the trip. You know what was nice when I went through Denver? I had to fill up after I got through Denver, and I never had it happen in the West Coast, but I was tired. On the way down here, I only slept for an hour and a half. But when I was driving through Denver, it was right after I woke up from my hour and a half nap, and I had to get gas. Man, driving through Denver was ugh. I don't want to go back through Denver, man. People are driving crazy in Denver. What's that noise? Guy's like misshifting, but grinding his gears. But when I filled up at the station just south of Denver, I went in there and I got a coffee and I brought it to the register. And the lady goes, "I like your smile. The coffee's on us today." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Are you joking?" She's like, "I'm serious." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "I'm happy to pay for it. I want you to get trouble." She's like, "Oh, there won't be any trouble. Thank you so much for coming here today." I was just like, wow. I get out of the. I think a lot of the country has nicer people than up where I'm from, man. It's just, never had anybody say you could have a free coffee because I like your smile. So, I mean, granted, it's only $1.29, right? But it's still a nice gesture. Uh-oh, here's that traffic. I never saw the 2 right lanes closed that it set up on the sign. Maybe that was earlier today and they cleared the message, but as we're getting close to Dallas. This is clearly the Dallas skyline. Oaklawn Avenue, Highline Drive. Yeah, there's some traffic here coming into town. We're creeping. Exit 430B. I'm curious what this building is right here. This is an interesting building. Oh my God, does it say World Trade Center? It does. That's a weird building, Dallas. What kind of World Trade Center is this? You guys want to see a weird building? Just do a little Google search for the World Trade Center at Dallas. That is a weird building. This is also an interesting building. I wonder what this is. This looks like the place that Jim Carrey says, "Down, down, down. Red Knight's going down." Let's see. Yeah, Dallas is definitely a lot bigger than Oklahoma City. Kind of reminds me of Seattle. I see a lot of new glass buildings going up. Take exit 45 for Houston. That's a deeper south. I'll be even further out of the way. Shout out to my man Darrell in Houston. I'm not gonna make it on this trip. Sweet lady will kill me. But I do want to come back down here. I would. Now's probably a better time to go to Houston than the summer. God, I was in Houston years ago when I was in college in the summer. It was so hot and humid. I was like, I don't know how people do this. This is crazy. Thank you. Thank you for that super chat. It scrolled by so fast and it's small. I can't see who did it, but thank you. Again, I appreciate that generosity. I hate when people whiz around through traffic where it's slow and it's brake lights. It's just like, I mean, you're not going to save that much time, but you're greatly increasing the odds that there'll be an accident on the road. I mean, it's just like, just chill out, man, and just deal with the traffic. You know, people that drive like that, it's just... Sometimes you got to be to a place by a certain minute, right? So you're trying to save every second possible, but still, it's just like... I don't know. Cause an accident is definitely not worth it. Now you're delaying everybody. So far, though, no accidents in Texas, even though speed limits are faster. You know, I haven't seen any accidents, actually, the whole way here. Now that I think about it, all the way down here, I haven't seen any accidents. Despite the faster speed limits, people seem to be driving better in the Pacific Northwest. You drive through Seattle, there's accidents all over the place, like nobody knows how to drive. Portland's even worse. Okay. All right, I'm back, Truth Seeker. Apparently I'm here. I'm at Commerce Street. It says this is Dealey Plaza. Again, I've never been here before. This is a really weird intersection. There's an interesting brick building that's a lot like a castle. So I'm gonna look for a place to park right now. I guess I'll stay on the stream. I'll tell people where I end up parking at. But it's right here, so I guess it says this is the spot. For the people coming in, if you're watching my stream, it's I'm right by Commerce Street, so. Back-to-back one-ways in the same direction. That's not what I expected with the world. Seemed like a pretty nice city, though. Just little park spaces and stuff around. There's the news channel. All right. Hold on, I'm gonna ask these people a question real quick. Excuse me? I'm from out of town. The Dealey Plaza historic site, am I close? So if I park around here, easy walk. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, thank you. Yeah, they said this is the right spot, so just park around here. He said just walk down a couple blocks. I gotta find a parking spot, that's all. This is amazing always how many spots that I like no parking. It's like making it difficult. Why can't I park right there? That spot looks ideal to me. They definitely know I'm out of town. I got the Washington plates. Let's see. Now, is this a parking spot here? 2-hour parking. I would like to get something that's longer than 2 hours, though. I didn't see any lots around here. Well, I'm at the intersection of... Well, anyway, I'm very close to the Dealey Plaza site. Just I'd rather park for more than 2 hours, and I didn't see any garages or anything. You know what, you guys, I'm gonna end the stream real quick. I'm gonna look and see if there's some kind of parking garage around here where I can pay to park for longer than 2 hours. But I will open up a stream once I'm set up. So I should be to the spot very soon. Just want to find it. I don't want to have to come back to the car and charge. I plan to spend more than 2 hours here, so. See you soon, True Seeker. Thank you to everyone who donated. Much appreciated. Very generous. And again, stay tuned for the next stream.